Welcome to Eclectic Soundtrax Podcast. On this Titanic episode, we chat with Austin musician Brian Wolff. Originally from Binghamton, New York, Brian relocated to Austin, Texas, and has since been the frontman for the indie rock powerhouse Fair City Fire. An explosive live force, the band has toured the U.S. 5 times and has a couple of albums and some singles under their belt. However, due to the 2020 pandemic, Brian has shifted his focus to more of his original music. He has been conducting weekly live streams, performing originals and also covers or tribute performances from some of his favorite groups. We talk about these groups, we talk about influences, bands that inspire us, that we love. We also talk about bands that we don't love so much on this podcast, so beware. Brian also has a podcast called Greetings from Wherever. Be sure to look for him on social media, and also check us out on social media. Be sure to like us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Of course, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, Overcast, etc. And before we get started here, we just want to give a quick thank you to our friends at Godan Guitars, Tragan Guitars, Ernie Ball, and 5 Iron Woodworks. All right, let's get on with the show.
For Morbid.
Oh, God. What's up? Eclectic Soundtrax.
What's going on, Brian?
Hey. Good to see you.
Morbid, man. Hey, Brian, you seen any good documentaries, docuseries on Netflix lately?
What did I just watch? I was on YouTube. I watched half of Sound City. Finally.
Oh, I've been told to watch that and haven't. How is it?
Dude, it's killer. It's so good. Yeah, it's kind of funny how like just a shithole studio like that just had so much history, not shithole in the gear or anything, but just the way it looks. Like the guys talking about it are like, you could take a piss in the corner of the room and nobody would say anything.
Sounds like Red's gun range.
Oh man, I'm going there Saturday. What?
Yeah? You gonna go take a lesson
or
what?
Piss. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm taking.
They won't notice.
Cool. It's good to know, man. I pee a lot these days, so that way I don't have to I'll just whip it out and go.
Who has time for the bathroom?
Yeah, no, man. I'm excited to go try out some different guns, and I was talking to someone, a friend in a band in Louisiana. I played Skunkfest. This dude in Southern Brutality, and he makes guns, I think, man. And I think he was in law enforcement for a while and stuff. And I was like, man, we ought to have you on sometime and talk guns. I was like, I know Vic knows all his shit on that. I need to get educated. Are you a gun guy, Brian?
Not at all. I don't know the first thing about him. I've shot a gun once. It was like when I moved to Austin, a couple of my buddies that already lived here were like, we got to go to a gun range. That was like one of the first things I did when I got here.
It's so fun. It's been forever since I've been.
It was a blast. I mean, it was really cool. It's just not something I grew up with, but doing it and like it felt like I was going to the bowling alley or something, like Texas's version of that,
That's like
Texas.
At least it's like bowling, yeah. 10-inch shooting guns, whatever. Which one do you want to do?
Yeah, right.
I got a tennis racket and a 12 gauge. What do you want to do today?
And then we can get barbecue.
So Brian Wolff. Now, I know you from, two things, Fair City Fire. And is Fair City Fire no more, or is it moving forward but in a different manner now? What's the news with that?
That's a great question. Yeah, just froze for a second. But yeah, it's a great question. It's kind of up in the air a little bit. It's been a couple of the guys kind of during the pandemic decided that they wanted to kind of try other things and move on and kind of there's no drama. It was just kind of a couple of the dudes want to go in a different direction, and I think the pandemic was kind of sobering for a lot of people, and for them it's just kind of like let's see what else life has to offer. And they've been in Fair City Fire for so long and so dedicated on touring and recording all the stuff it takes to be in a band. So, I get it. It's just kind of,
I'm not laughing at the fact that you are in a state of a limbotic state with, is that a real word? I don't know. A limbotic state with the band, but you are freezing back in, you're jolty, and I know,
damn.
Man. And I'll be goddamned if we have to go to Zoom for this thing. I won't do it. I fucking refuse. I'm done with Zoom.
Yeah,
I'm
I've never used
We're
Riverside. I've heard it's great though.
Well, so the thing about this platform is, I think it sensed that because AI and Skynet and shit, it probably said that, hey, this guy's freezing, I'm going to turn off his audio, but it's still recording your video. It's going to upload it on the back end, so we'll still have it for the post podcast editing process.
Well, what I think is that we just have to do things in small fragments. So I want Brian to tell his life story, but only in like 2 words at a time.
Yeah, that's it.
All chunks.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, right now,
yeah.
I feel like you just keep freezing.
Yeah, you guys are freezing too.
Weird.
On my end,
Okay.
which sucks. I don't know. I usually don't have an issue like this here.
Okay. Everybody take a deep breath. Which is weird. We're all running on Ethernet. Am I freezing at anybody? Or, I mean, we're just to you. I think Vic and I are. Something funny was, Vic, is I had went to plug in a hard drive or do something in the back of my computer today. And I was like talking to someone the other day, or maybe it was you. And I was like, oh no, my Ethernet's hooked up. Everything's cool. And then the cable was laying on the floor. And I was like, oops. I don't know how long it's been unplugged.
Yeah.
Okay, so worst case, what's our option if we can't get Riverside happening? Well,
hold on.
Also, Vic,
Okay.
you had said something about, what was the idea you had about the Bluetooth thing, and you could record them on your thing.
Yeah, the thing. Yeah.
It was
So there's a
plugged in,
Bluetooth
but
attachment for the interface I'm using right now. So, if we, in a pinch, what we could do is use something like FaceTime for you and myself, and then have the other person call in. And we would be basically both on all separate audio tracks.
Right. So, I mean, you and I would still have video, but the other guy wouldn't.
Right. But the thing is, I would need the adapter, and the adapter is not being sold yet.
I thought that was something you already had. That was something that you had said that would be a future option. I see.
Future option, right.
I think the USB input that my thing, the Ethernet cable was in, was kind of cutting in and out. So I think it might be better now, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah. You're sounding clear.
Cool.
Awesome.
That's good.
Cool. So what we'll do at the beginning of this podcast is we'll just put a thing that says like, fast forward 5 minutes into the podcast. The first 5 minutes are garbage.
Yeah.
You know what though? If someone told me that, I would listen to the first 5 minutes, because I would want to know, is it really technical problems, or did somebody just say something horribly stupid? Oh my God.
You never know.
They're all racist. Which we literally,
in the loosest sense,
right?
Which
which meant we said something totally not racist, but someone construed it as racist. So then we were all racist.
Yes.
Probably somebody from Coca-Cola judging us.
Why? Where did that come from? I'm not getting the reference. Oh no, tell me what's going on.
Oh, yeah. So they so there's an author by the name of Robin DiAngelo, and she wrote a book called she's a white lady writing about being racist, how not to be racist, essentially. And so Coca-Cola took this book that she wrote, and they made some internal training curriculum for the Coca-Cola employees, and they basically made it part of the I guess the corporate don't be racist program.
Oh, that's good.
Boy.
That's a good program.
If you're polar bear white, there's a good chance that you have.
You know what? What audacity? What a plug-in audacity on this program. What audacity of Coca-Cola? Yeah. How dare Coca-Cola, of anybody, try to sit here and be all high and mighty about being racist when they're the ones that chose, of all things, a polar bear to be their sponsor? Fucking racist bastard. Okay, so we're never going to get Coca-Cola as a sponsor, but that's okay. I'm a Pepsi drinker anyway.
Yeah.
What's your favorite soft drink, Brian? It's back to your point, I guess, that you had asked if there's a format. Clearly, there is not. There's no.
Yeah, it's all good. I wasn't expecting that to be one of the first questions, but here we are, man. I'm in. I'm a Diet Coke guy. I don't know. Like, it's I don't know why. I can't explain to you why. It just is.
Who's your favorite porn star?
Oh, dude. A tie between all of them.
Hey, that's a good answer.
I think,
that's
equal opportunity.
Well, let me tell you something about, so we were kind of cutting, we had issues cutting out, and we'll get back to Fair City Fire, and obviously you're a musician, a fantastic musician, and we're going to talk about that. But one thing, when I first met you was, I became aware of your band, Fair City Fire. I think that maybe we played a show together at Hanover's or something. I can't remember what the context was.
Yep.
Was that it? I think it was.
I remember that happening. That was cool. That was really cool.
I've had several shows at Hanover's like that, where all of a sudden you get on a roster, you don't really know the bands, and all of a sudden you're like, holy fuck, and like all the bands kick ass. They're all different, but really good, Yeah,
that was a killer night, and that place was cool, man.
Yeah,
it's
it is
I miss like being at venues like that with other bands and stuff. It was pretty badass. But I remember that being just a great night of rock and roll, man. It was a good time.
And then so there was that, and then I guess we talked, and I don't know how I found out about it, but I've been on your podcast, I think twice now, and that was Say It Loud, right? Is the name of that podcast?
Yeah, so Say It Loud was a podcast that like kind of the band and I did. It was sort of it was really built to be originally just kind of a way to get to know bands before we played with them, really, because we'd get put on all these bills with bands we didn't know, and we're like, okay, come on this podcast and hang out with us, and then when we go to the show and we all kind of meet up at this venue, like we'll at least have had one conversation with each other, and that was kind of the idea. And then obviously promoting the show makes sense too on a podcast, but it was really great for that and kind of getting to know a lot of bands in the scene, including yourself. I mean,
yeah, I had a great time. And
for that,
one thing that I loved about, and actually your podcast was the complete opposite of this podcast, because I came in, I remember saying to you guys, like, as I almost sounded like I was insulting other podcasts, but I was like, not that I've been on like 1,000 podcasts anyway, but I was like, wow, this was so cool, because like you guys were actually prepared and like you knew what you were going to ask. And I forget who was hosting, but it was like there was a lot of like questions, and it was very like, it was great. It was really well done. And I was just like, wow, that was really cool. And clearly I learned nothing from it in terms of how to conduct myself on if I ever had a podcast. But what I loved...
Yeah, Matt Jones was the host.
Exactly,
he was great.
And what I loved the best, and it was so fun with the whole band there and everything, but you guys did a thing called, and I don't know if you always did the same thing, I can't remember now, but it was a segment at the end called Something or Porn Star. What was it? It was so good.
God, that was a Matt Jones special. He came up with that. It was, porn star or rock star,
maybe
or something
was
like that.
Oh, was it like just throwing out names?
Yeah,
throwing out names. You had to guess.
It was so good. It was so.
It was such a
because I think there was one that really, was like male porn. It was like male porn star or gay porn star or something or singer of a particular, I don't know, 80s synth pop band or whatever. I don't know, right? But it was really fucking
gay porn star or a member of a good rock.
So
it's one and the same.
So we tried to mix up segments like that, because sometimes it'd be that one, or sometimes Matt would come up with these. He would like find questions on Yahoo Answers and just ask everyone one at a time these like ridiculous questions about just stupid stuff that people ask on there. I'm sure you've seen it before. I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but it ended up being really hilarious. Like, it was like, talk directly to this person, try to help them.
Yeah, really,
it was really
funny stuff, man. It was so fun. I mean, Vic and I haven't really come up with anything like that. We had some early ideas that never took off. But one thing that we have gotten that at least amuses me, and I think a lot of males in particular, probably, whether they want to admit it or not, is every now and then we get a classic shit story, and it always just warms my heart and brings me to tears in the best way possible. So I may have to, Vic, if I forget, let's make sure we ask Brian if he's got any good shit stories before we wrap this up tonight.
All the band members are good for this.
What I've found is like the better the guitar player, the better the shit story. Like that seems to be a theme.
This is putting pressure on me, man.
So
I'm not even drinking. I might have to start.
Grab yourself a beer. Buckle up.
So Yahoo Answers. So I'm looking up some of some of the questions. Should I have sex with my hamster?
What?
Oh my God, really?
That's disturbing.
Wow.
Man.
That is.
First of all,
That's
first
super
of all,
disturbing.
like, that's just.
Is pepperoni pizza vegetarian?
Here's the thing about. I mean, it could be. You could have a vegan fake pepperoni. Here's the thing about that hamster question. That's disturbing on two ways. I mean, there's the obvious disturbing fact of the fact that it's an animal. But the other fact is if you even think that you can penetrate a hamster, like, how sad is your penis? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. That's just really just weird on so many levels.
Yeah, I can't
Maybe
do
it
it.
was a
I
stuffed
can't.
hamster.
Oh, stuffed hamster is
There you
totally
go.
cool. I used to bang my stuffed hamster all the time. So anyway, Brian, wow, sorry.
Here we are. We're doing
Okay,
it.
so tell us.
Welcome to the podcast.
Tell us about your first hamster relationship. How old were you?
So it was not of a sexual nature. I just want to say that up front.
We
right
all
up
did
top,
have
but
hamsters,
no.
right? Did you have a hamster, Vic?
Dude, I had like 3 hamsters growing up. I had Teddy, and then Teddy 2, or T2 Judgment
Wow.
Day. That's kind of what his
Nice.
nickname.
Wow.
Yeah, and then Scooter was another one. They're just excellent little animals, and yeah.
They're fucking
Yeah.
Houdinis too. They're all escape artists. Did yours get out? Because I've never heard of any hamster that didn't escape. Yeah.
All the time. Yeah, it was just part of that. We came up with all these tricks to
no matter
just
yeah,
catch
no
them
matter
and
what.
stuff,
Like
and
we had to put.
you gotta know.
You get those little stupid little things, the top to their aquariums and the bedding and the wheel, and then you have those things that the stick with the suction cups, and those never last. They'll pop off or whatever. They push up the roof and they get out. And so we used to have to put books on there, and we had all kinds of things that we had to do to try to keep those things in their cages. And then at first, I'm going to go off on a big hamster story now, but we had 2 hamsters together, right? And they were all fine. It was all cute and wonderful. And one was my brother's and one was mine. And then my brother's ended up kind of like in real life, ended up just being an aggressive asshole. And it just started like fucking up. Not my brother fucked me up, but he started fucking up my hamster. So we had to separate them. And for a while when we didn't have 2 aquariums, we had to like put them in a bathtub or something. It was really weird. But so this hamster living in a bathtub. But one of them they would get out, man. I don't know. It's crazy. Like they'd get out. We thought, well, he's gone. We don't know whether it's been days. And then all of a sudden my parents would hear the scratching behind their sink in the middle of the night. Or one of them was like behind some bookshelves in my dad's study and like ate all the fucking curtains and shit. I mean, those things are, yeah, man. I also have a horrible traumatic hamster death story, but I won't ruin your podcast with that. But Vic, did you have hamsters? Did Mexicans not have hamsters?
No, because they look too much like rats.
You just go with Chihuahuas, man. Look at me being all
right.
racist. Coca-Cola would never hire my ass.
You know, I was
Yeah.
going to say, because you mentioned hamsters in a bathtub, and I was going to say,
Weird stuff.
what are we if not hamsters in a
Ooh,
bathtub,
deep.
you know? Dude, I'm just going to throw it out there right now, and I think that's going to be my next
Yeah,
hit
dude,
single.
hamsters
right
in a
there.
bathtub. Like that is seriously, if I'm fucking scrolling around and I see a song called Hamsters in a Bathtub, I'm gonna go listen. Because I'm like,
I want to know what that's
exactly. I'm
about.
like, this-
Yeah.
you have to listen to that song. That's pretty good, man. That's
Good.
pretty good.
Could be a band
Yeah,
name,
Hamsters
too.
in a Bathtub does
Dude.
sound like kind of a good. What kind of band? What kind of band would it be? Like a prog rock band?
God,
Let's
it'd have to
see.
be weird. It'd have to be
Like
a little weird.
like a bare naked ladies
or
band.
what's that band? There's a particular band I'm thinking of, and I can't think what they're called right now. Where they
Is it
dress up-
Rush?
Not Rush. No, Hamsters in a Bathtub was a Rush concept album from the late 70s.
Yeah, it's a forgotten
The
album.
forgotten album.
that they
That's
came out
right.
with.
The artwork's fantastic.
That epic track, Spinning Wheel. It's good stuff.
Yes.
So Brian, when did you play? I'm assuming you probably play multiple instruments. I don't know why. You strike me as that guy.
Well, you know, I've been a vocalist and guitar player for a long time, but I just over the last couple of years have been dabbling a little bit with keyboard and piano. So I don't know if I can really call myself a piano player yet, but it's something I'm spending a lot of time on and trying to get a little better at, so I can at least be passable.
Cool.
at it.
Yeah,
you know?
I love
fake it till you make it.
Yeah, man. For any musician, I think having that skill is some sort of like piano, right, where you can kind of play some chords, do some basics, and then a little drums too. Even I think is cool. I mean, I'm the same way. I would never call myself a drummer, but I love to get on a kit and try to keep a beat and to be able to at least kind of convey your ideas and play a little bit, and it's super fun. But so guitar, when did you? So that was your first instrument. That's your main instrument. When did you start playing?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I started playing trumpet in elementary school, but like I just sort of lost that one. I don't know. It's like you don't like keep those muscles up, and then you try to play again like many years later, and it's really really hard. So it's like I don't want to go through. I've actually tried to kind of bring it back, and it's like just you can't even make a sound. So it's like, man, trying to go through the process of like working that out and making that happen again is a lot. But guitar. I really got into just rock and roll. I mean, my dad showed me a lot of really cool stuff. Like, he would play these awesome cassette tapes in the minivan or like CDs or something, of like AC/DC, Zeppelin, The Who, stuff like that. And, I got real into AC/DC especially. And then I was kind of walking around my neighborhood garage sale, and somebody had just a shitty knockoff of like a SG basically, and it was like that red beautiful color of Angus Young, Angus Young's guitar, and I was like, man, I gotta have that. And it was like $70, and I was like, I'm gonna do this. And so yeah, that's kind of how it started. And I was like, now that I have this, I have to learn how to play. And then that's kind of where it all began. I took lessons for like 3 or 4 years from this guy, Jim Wilding, up in upstate New York. I'm from the Binghamton, New York area. And he just taught me a lot of stuff. And then I kind of just took it from there. And I was in garage bands in high school and stuff, and then kept it up during college. So, it's kind of always been a big part of my life since I was like 12.
Okay, so you started about that time, 12?
Yeah.
Now, when you say minivan, so I'm thinking, what are we talking 80s here? 90s?
I was born in '88, so we're talking '90s, I guess.
Another whippersnapper,
late '90s.
Everybody makes me feel old. So yeah, man, I think back, like in the '80s when the vans really started coming out was when I was a kid, and like there was the
shaggin'
Dodge
wagons.
Caravan, which I inherited, and it had like a broken window and no radio and no AC, and we talked about that on a podcast. I think Dave's podcast, and like a tire and an office chair in the back for
that's right.
For the back seat, and like
oh my god.
Yeah, and but there was like our neighbors had like there were those Dodge vans, and then there were remember those old Toyotas, and they were just hideous. Those Toyota vans from the late 80s, Vic. What did you have, Brian? Do you remember what the van was?
Those.
God. So I remember the one I definitely remember was this like gold Toyota Sienna that had like it was like high tech technology.
Was it kind of weird looking?
You could press a button and the door would slide open, on its own.
One, I bet.
You remember when that started going down? Yeah, that was super fancy. But yeah,
that Toyota van. Okay,
yeah, that one.
Yeah. Anyway,
I just looked up pictures. Yeah,
yeah.
I got to say, this is the first podcast we've talked about minivan specifics and hamsters, but it's first time for everything.
Dude, you never know what's gonna happen, man. You gotta when you turn the mics on.
I came up with weird questions for you. I'm like, I just randomly go, hamster. Did you have one, Vic? What are we gonna ask him?
And I just give off hamster vibes, I guess. I don't know. Guy. And you know what? I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. If people just see me as a person that might have a hamster, I did.
Did you have any other pets?
I do now. So yeah, I've wanted a dog for a while, but just kind of one of those situations where I was just really busy and not really sure if I could properly take care of one. But I did the next best thing, which is starting to date someone who had dogs. So. Now we live together, so now I have 2 dogs and 2 cats. It's a pretty full house, but it's cool, man.
Those are the best children, I think.
Oh, dude, they're the best.
If you forget to feed them one day, it's not that big of a deal. I'm just kidding. So back to upstate New York. Where is that proximity wise? Where you're from? Because I'm not recognizing that name.
Yeah, I mean it's not as not as not as well known, I guess. But
Rochester.
Yeah, you know where like Syracuse is by chance? It's pretty much like right in like the center of the state, but towards the PA border. They just call it upstate because it's not New York City, really, or like near New York City.
I see.
So it's kind of confusing a little bit. Upstate implies that it's way near the top, but it's really not. It's kind of just I'm like 10 minutes from the PA border.
It's so beautiful up there, man.
Right in the
I
center.
just love driving through
dude.
that part of the country. Gorgeous. And
yeah, especially in the fall, man. It's the
awesome.
best.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
We're doing like a DIY tour up there and literally just having like one show in New York, one show in Maryland, and just driving for these little dive bar, ridiculous
lots
gigs.
of trees up there.
But I mean, the positive side of that is you are just driving through such beautiful country. It's like I don't mind the driving. It's not like driving through West Texas where you're like, just fucking kill me. How fast can I go? Maybe I'll die. Just end this.
You don't like the pump jacks and the cattle and the cotton
every
fields
10 miles when it's like don't stop for strangers, they might be a criminal. Remember, like, because you get out there and there's some federal penitentiary out near Fort Stockton or something. There's a bunch of signs that are like, don't pick up hitchhikers. Yeah,
don't stop. Yeah.
Good advice.
It could be a serial killer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So when we started talking at first, you know what? That's what it was. We were talking about Sound City. I'm so confused now between talking before the podcast started and then the hiccup but I think that was. So we were talking about Sound City. That's right. Little dump you can pee in, which led to shooting guns.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which led to you telling us the first time something about yourself that I don't remember because it kept cutting out. It was about Fair City Fire. Let's get back to Fair City Fire. Before that, though, you started playing in your 12, garage bands, playing in New York. When did you move to Austin and why?
Yeah, the plan was right after college I was going to move to Austin. It was I did like my undergrad just studying like marketing and realized I didn't really want to go that route, really. At least I found kind of being in bands was what really made me happy and like playing music. And so I knew that, I really wanted to give that a real shot before I kind of settled into like a corporate marketing job or however I imagined that going, I kind of looked at Austin. I looked at Nashville. I already knew people in Austin. So it was sort of, that kind of made the decision for me, really. I had people to crash with, at least for a little bit, to kind of get my feet on the ground. But, man, I was going to come down here right after college, and then things started to pick up steam up there a little bit for me. Right after college, kind of in my hometown, there was like a radio contest where they had people come in and sing, and if you won recording time. And, really that was nice, like having the recording time, but the real prize was like suddenly I was getting calls for gigs and playing like festivals up there and stuff. Like that's what really kind of, brought me in. But that's something that made me kind of delay the Austin trip a little bit. And I'm glad I did. I feel like I was able to just cut my teeth a little more before I came here, which was, I wasn't completely just like, oh my God, this place. Like, cause I think the first person I saw play guitar here was Eric Tesmer, and it kind of scared the shit out of me a little bit, like just, I don't know how someone can make those sounds with a guitar. I'm like watching it happen. I'm hearing it happen and I don't understand it. And like, I'm like, I do that, but so much worse than that. Just like, it was that moment of like, they kind of kicked my ass in the best way,
It's interesting. Well, I want to come back to Eric Tesmer and the whole sort of just the plethora of great musicians and players in Austin here in a minute. But when you started playing up in New York like that, then were you playing primarily in the surrounding area there, or were you kind of traveling around the state a bit, or what was that like? Yeah,
occasionally we'd play in like in Albany or we went down to New York City a few times. So yeah, we'd get around. We played Syracuse a few times. So yeah, within like a 2 or 3 hour radius. We never really did a full on tour or anything, but you know, it was a lot of the gigs in the Binghamton area kept me pretty busy for a while, and you know, it got to a point where I was doing that for almost 3 years, and it was going about as well as it could possibly go, being in a band in a small town, you know, and I kind of saw like big picture. Okay, what does my life look like really in 10 years if I just keep doing exactly what I'm doing right now? And I decided I didn't really like that picture that much. And as much as I love my hometown, I love all the people there, it was just kind of like, it didn't feel like it was going to be enough for like me to feel happy with like giving this a real shot with my music and all that stuff. So I left and came to Austin. But
And what year was that?
God, that was 2012 was when I left Binghamton for Austin, around October. So a bit ago now.
And then, so have you played in any other bands here, or did you get here and then Fair City Fire came together? When did that band come about, and how long was that running? Or I guess it's kind of been finding itself right now, or in a state of purgatory.
I came down here and I was really more or less a solo act for a bit, and then I'd kick around open mics and play happy hour gigs. Really, that's kind of what it looked like for the most part for my first year or so here, and then kind of met other musicians, and I found myself in a kind of R&B pop cover band for a little bit, and that was called Holly and the Hype. And you know, we wrote some stuff, but it really wasn't really the focus of the band. We wrote stuff out of like necessity to play certain gigs. It was never like the forefront of the thing, which like I always wanted to write. I always wanted to like put my own stuff out there and, you know, put my stamp on the musical world in a way, you know, and so that was always important for me. But, you know, I was in that band for a bit, and the bass player and drummer were Brett and Joe from Fair City Fire of that band. So it was kind of a situation where I realized I wasn't happy in that situation. I told her, actually, I gave her like 6 months. I was like, listen, in 6 months, I'm going to move on from this band and start like a rock and roll thing. And, you know, I just want to give you plenty of time to find somebody else. And, you know, and Brett and Joe wanted to kind of come along and do this rock thing too. So we added this guy, Derek, that I had met at an open mic, who was just a freaking, I don't think you met him, but because he had left the band and moved back to Ohio before you booked us at Skunkfest, I think. But yeah, he was just like this ball of energy. Like he would just nuts. Like he kind of blacked out on stage, and like that's how he described it. Like he would just legit go nuts, and especially towards the end of a show, and like jump off things. Like my favorite story of his that like is just like, it's so, I don't know, it's so crazy. But we played at Lambert's, right? And that was like, at the time, that was like the in to get in with like C3. So it was kind of like, you know, you try to play Lambert's, and then hopefully after that they like you, and then they book you at Stubbs. That was kind of the thought process, you know? And so we get that gig at Lambert's, and we're like, okay, this is kind of, you know, classy seeming place. Like, we're pretty loud. How is this going to go? Let's just do our thing. Like, let's just go all out and just make it happen. Try to get as many people out as we can. And we're playing the show. We're doing great. The crowd's getting into it. Good turnout, all that stuff. And then Derek, just in classic Derek fashion, we called him Derek Smash because he would just destroy things. But he got up like on his amp, like, and not only did he almost like fall off the back of his amp, and there's like that window there that he almost like it was so close to him.
Right? Yeah,
it was so close to him just smashing through the window, and like
plumbing
it was
to his death.
Like,
so that's why he's not in the band anymore. Gotcha.
Yeah, he's a goner. No, but man, he jumped off his amp, and there's like those like low ceiling tile things hanging down that are supposed to like help the sound, and he knocked one of those, and the whole thing just came crashing down, and like you just hear this rumble, and like everybody stopped for a second. We look at him to make sure he's okay, and he's just still going. Like, fuck it. It was the best. And we were just like, did we just kind of like ruin our chances with C3? Like, what, you know, we're kind of like what's going on here? Like, is this
it's
okay?
a moment,
like, it was kind of one of those.
You don't
moments,
know if it's terrible or awesome,
like,
right? It's like, was this legendary awesome?
It felt
or
awesome.
did we just fucking ruin everything?
Either way, there were a lot of people in that room that would call that fucking awesome.
Memorable,
but sure. It was like I went up to the sound guy, and the person that booked there was there, and she was like, "That was great." I was like, "Yes, awesome. Yes." So
that would have been.
She was just like,
"What year was that?"
So yeah, Fair City Fire kicked off around 2014. I think we got our first shot like that at a good venue like that in probably 2015 towards the end of the year or so. So we, and then we got to play stubs for our album release in 2016. That was the first album we put out. And kind of just went from there. It was like we had a good run, man. I don't really know what the future holds for it. It's kind of just Joe and I.
A good Rogerings. I mean, that band started really conceptually, I think, and we had kind of, me and my brother and another guy, Blaine Mott, who I've played in various projects with and worked with. Like, that was kind of the initial thing. We found a drummer, we were jamming for a while, and we had some material, and we were writing some stuff. Finally, played a few gigs, and there was an early version of that, and then another. I mean, I don't know how many versions there's been at this point. My point is there was a time when that thing died for several years, and we resurrected right around the time you guys were destroying the city, literally. And and now it's kind of another time. It's a pandemic, all things change, and so I've learned that, like, sometimes you never know. You know what I mean? Like, who fucking knows, man? So it may not be dead. But I think that's a part in, like, so many bands I know, especially bands, I play in the Invincible Czars, and there's been like 4,000 people in that band over the years. But I mean, that's part of being in a band. You look at, like, the Wikipedia trajectory of, like, some bands, and they have those chart, right? Have you seen those graphs with all the different members over the years? So I think it's something. It's weird. It's like it almost seems a lot of the classic bands we think of. A pretty standard lineup, but almost there's very few bands I think that have actually had the same 4 members or whatever consistently, and not any kind of changes ever. Most bands have a lot that happens over their tenure, especially when you start getting into decades.
You're definitely right. And I think one thing that happened was, like, when Brett told me that he wanted to kind of move on and do other things, like, that was like, okay, I could still see us, like, doing making this happen, getting a new bass player, and kind of just, recreating the sound, because we had done it before. It was like, okay, let's just do that. And then Clint said the same thing, and it was just kind of like, well, now it's 2 of the guys, and I've been writing a lot of solo stuff. Should I just focus on that? And I kind of just decided to do that instead of, like, trying to, immediately revive this thing that was sort of like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know if it's dead or not. It's just
but
like,
that makes sense. And I think it's good.
Who
like,
knows?
I mean, not saying it's good that, that the band is not, of course you want great things to last forever. I don't think they ever do, that's life. Everything changes. Right. But I think it is cool. Like, sometimes you just have to follow whatever is happening at the moment, and not, and so, like, you doing solo stuff now, like, it's all, there's been times when, like, one door closes, something else opens, and then that door reopens later. Who knows, right? But I mean, I love the solo stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously that's something that you did before, and that's nice when you're a musician, especially when you're a front guy and a singer, right? And you can do that. You're not kind of like, oh darn, I'm a bass player but I don't sing and I don't write and I want to be in a band, but all of a sudden the band fell apart, and you're sort of like, no, you're a songwriter. You do all these things. So I've seen you've been doing the live streams and. Now, I know you're doing a lot of live stream stuff and pretty consistent too, I think. But are you gigging out anywhere right now or no?
I'm not, man. I kind of really am just waiting for the vaccine, really. And I think I know I have an appointment for Saturday.
Really?
So I think, so I think then I'll get the next shot in 3 weeks or so. And then, I guess by the time this comes out, I'll probably be fully vaccinated or at least close to it. So I think that's sort of the moment when I think we're going to start talking about that. I don't know exactly. It's kind of one of those things where it's just like, I live with someone else and we both have to agree on what's safe, what feels good.
Good for you,
both
man.
of us. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed you said that you got the shot, you're getting the second shot. So I guess he's got the old vaccination. He didn't have the new one that Luke's dad invented, Vic.
Yeah,
Inside ESP jokes
didn't
here.
Get the new fancy one. I'm wondering if this vaccine comes with a new U2 album or not. Because I'm hoping it just gets implanted in my brain.
Thing is still on my fucking phone, man. And look, it makes me so mad. Like, honestly, I don't really have anything against U2. Joshua Tree's a classic album. They got some good stuff. I mean, I'm not like the world's biggest U2 fan, but I don't think they're good. But don't put fucking shit on my phone when I don't ask for it, man. That pisses me off. That makes me not like U2 because of that. I'm like, fuck you, man.
They got on a lot of people's shit list with that one, dude. I think. But man, their album War is the best.
When did that come out?
I will stand by that. Oh God, 80s. Okay. I think maybe.
I don't know. 70s, I don't know their catalog. I mean, I know everybody knows their hits, but
that's one. I'm not a U2 guy either, but that album, like, I'll go front to back all day with that one. They've had some
great catchy stuff that I used to be not a total YouTube hater, and maybe there was just a douchiness about Bono. He kind of just has that vibe. I mean, South Park did the best. I love the way South Park just won an Emmy too, and then that's how they celebrated. They were like, "Cool, we're gonna make fun of this now too," and they're shoving an Emmy through a fucking. It's like the whole time they're talking about Bono being a big piece of shit, and they're talking about. I literally have a whole episode about taking a fucking human, It's 5. What was it, like 5 Keurigs or whatever?
5 Katie Keurigs.
Oh my God!
And there's always it just comes up throughout the whole show. There's like this little spinning thing. It says Emmy award winning,
Emmy nominated,
Emmy award winning show. At the end, Emmy goes through a big piece of shit. So Bono the whole time is running around going, "What was that song?" So and he's like running around Africa and stuff, going like, "Hello, hello."
Every time he'd answer his phone, yeah. Hello.
So kill me, man.
Good, dude. Have you seen the I still haven't seen the special that they did about COVID, and now I hear they're coming out with a vaccine episode or something, but I have not seen the special.
I haven't seen that, no.
Yeah, I haven't either. I should watch it. I think they all their episodes are on HBO Max.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, but was it you? Somebody told me that I could do that, access that through Amazon Prime, though, right? Or is that not accurate?
You can subscribe to HBO through Amazon.
I don't want to do that.
And then you can get and I think from there you just use the app or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a lot of company names to throw out there. They should be throwing us some money, I think.
Well, they could definitely. Amazon could afford it. Amazon could give us $1 billion every time we said, well, not $1 billion, but they could give us $1 million.
Yeah, no, it could be.
Yeah, because I was looking at a thing the other day of like the richest people in the world, and Bezos is number one. And it's like 100 and something billion. It's like insane. Used to be like, whoa, Sam Walton's got 1.5 billion. Now you're like, loser. He's only got $1 billion. What a loser.
Yeah. Why don't you try a little harder?
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. Now you look at like Oprah's got like $9 billion or $4 billion. You're like, ugh, God, get with the program, you poor lady. No, it's just weird, man. Seriously, like who? Someday, like, someone's going to be a fucking trillionaire. Somebody already probably is a trillionaire in Saudi Arabia or some shit, You
know who's making big money? Like big money for daytime television? I don't know if you guys know this, but I didn't know this until like 2 days ago. Judge Judy,
I hate that bitch. God damn it.
She is reeling it in. Ugh. It's like $45 million a year.
I just want to punch her in the face. Look, I'm proud to say. I mean, this is like Chris Rock said, like when he was talking about, you can't even like, but he was going like, what was the whole thing about like, you're not supposed to, someone's like, I take care of my kids. It's like, you're supposed to take care of your kids, you dumb fuck. Like, that's the way I'm like, and I lost my train of thought. I'm going off on a Chris Rock bit. Where was I going? God damn it.
Judge Judy,
man.
See how upset I am right now?
I was getting you going.
I haven't had a Judge Judy rant on this show yet. Yeah.
No, you haven't. No, that's a totally new one.
You're busting them all out.
I don't like those people. I
don't either. But I saw how much she makes, and I was just like, wait, what?
Like, $45 million a year.
So stupid.
That's Patrick Mahomes money,
dude.
That's pretty good.
But he actually does something. He's talented. He's like the young goat, man. Speaking of goats, Jesus, Brady, could that guy be any better? I mean, props to him, man. Whether you like him or not. I loved actually seeing him go down there. I mean, I was going for Kansas City, but To see Brady, that to me was just like a big go fuck yourself Belichick, like, you know what I mean? And Cam Newton, oh, sweet tears of Cam Newton. I want Cartman to lick those tears. Feed him his parents and his chili.
Man, I think I would have been way more into the Brady story this year if he didn't send my Packers home.
I like the Packers and I like Aaron Rodgers.
That was a tough one. That was a tough one for me.
I just expect the Seahawks to blow it early when they get into the playoffs. I mean, the Packers would have been cool. But I mean, either way, you're going with either Aaron Rodgers is just kind of like runner up, right? And then Tom Brady, the clear fucking all-time GOAT. I mean, just you can't deny it.
God.
The guy's at this point, what does he have? 7 fucking Super Bowl rings? That's insanity. And he's been 7. 10 or 11 times. It's insane. And the dude's,
I think he's still
like
going. Like, I think he's like, there's no stopping that dude. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean,
he's going to win again.
Fucking wow, man. But yeah, fuck Judge Judy. And what else? Jesus Christ. I hate those judge shows, man. They're the worst.
They are.
It's all probably fake, too. And she just acts like a bitch and people love it for some reason. I don't get it. I don't understand why.
Give me Mari instead, though.
Mari?
I'd rather really. If we're going
Povich
or Mari Povich. You are not the father.
That guy's a piece of shit too. If I'm thinking, look, I may be.
I mean, he certainly is.
Well, I have a beef with Mari. I think I could be wrong. I think it's Mari Povich. It may have been someone else, but I think that's the guy I'm thinking of. Years back, I remember that it just stuck with me forever, right? The stupid, tacky daytime talk show crap, which is all based on sleaze and nonsense, and we all get it. But he said he had a comment on his show where, and it's one of those ridiculous things, right? And is it the mother of it? It's the most sleazy, stupid bullshit. And then he said something on his show or in an interview where we made a crack about Howard Stern and like, oh, well, I don't know if anyone with any class would do with Howard. I'm like, are you fucking shitting me? Like pot calling the kettle black. At least Howard Stern is honest and Howard Stern is entertaining and Howard Stern is funny and Howard Stern is better than you in every single way imaginable. Like, that to me was just like the most ridiculous thing I had ever heard. Like,
dude, do you remember Celebrity Deathmatch?
Yeah, that was great.
Remember that show?
Like,
let's put those two against each other. Howard Stern and Mari. I think.
Yeah. What verbal death match?
Yeah, let's make it happen.
Howard Stern's one of those guys. There's certain people, like, if you ever, like, you never want to go, like, against them they'll just destroy you with intellect. And you know what I mean? Like, yeah, Celebrity Deathmatch. I forgot all about that thing. I think one of them had Screech on it. R.I.P. there, Dustin Diamond. I got a sad way to go. I mean, despite his highly annoying character and weird porno, endeavors, like, it sucks for the dude to die at a young age, like cancer. It's pretty awful, man. Never thought I'd be, giving a shout out to fucking Screech, but whatever. So, but I remember one was like Screech and Willis or some shit like that. I think could be wrong. And I think Vanilla Ice was on one of those motherfuckers and got his ass kicked too, which everyone wanted to see that.
Yep, definitely.
Oh man, Celebrity, that show should be here, man. You're so right. Like, but
we need to bring that back. I don't know who we gotta make we gotta call somebody.
Wasn't it MTV? Of course.
It was MTV.
Yeah, everything. I mean, look, that is a good show. I'll be honest, and even Jackass had its moments, but everything that is hell bent on destroying what anything America ever was came from MTV. I mean, not really, but. Everything, and then Jerry Springer, basically is
Jenny Jones too. You remember?
I didn't
Jenny
know as
Jones?
much about her, but she was another with Ricky Lake, Sally Jesse Raphael, those.
Jenny Jones was the one that actually had a homicide after like some. So she had a segment where she would bring a guest on.
I remember that,
and it was like a secret crush thing, right? And so she had one dude on, and. She was asking or she was telling him that he had a secret crush, and she was giving him hints and stuff like that. And I think he had like 3 people to choose from or something like that. But anyway, his secret crush was another dude. Like this dude liked him, had a crush on him or something.
I do remember this.
That led to the guy getting like really embarrassed on national TV, and he killed the guy.
Yeah, that was was that maybe the 90s? That was back when it was just like,
yeah, it was like 90.
There was still some
93
hard,
or something.
Like hating gays was still like kind of in the mainstream, and like
yeah.
It was. I think there may be, Netflix.
Oh, is there a documentary?
I saw a documentary on Netflix.
God
yeah,
damn it! You know the worst part of this podcast is I end up wasting. Just from Guy's episode alone, I wasted. I mean, I watched like binge watch. That's basically what I did during the winter storm. Was I just like watched Cobra Kai? I was like, well, I can't do anything. Everything sucks. I have no water. I'll just lay in bed and watch Cobra Kai all day.
Yeah. And then the podcast after that, we talked about the Cecil Hotel documentary.
Thing, yeah.
And then you went
I kind of don't want to give that away for people that don't know, but man, I knew that. I called that fucking shit right off the bat. And that's where you made that crack about Morbid. I mean,
yes,
fucking poor Morbid.
Okay. Don't tell me. I don't know. I don't know anything about this. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Morbid did it.
I need to watch it.
Okay, here.
It'll make you mad.
It was interesting. Though I'm not sure how I felt about that, but it was very bizarre.
The documentary itself is as a whole was really bizarre.
It's a very strange.
It starts off one way, right, and then it turns into goes into a different direction, and then it throws something else entirely.
It's done really well. Like they give you cliffhangers. Yeah. And that's the thing with those fucking Netflix shows, man. You're like, okay, it's 4 a.m. and then they give you a cliffhanger. You're like, fuck me, the sun. I'm gonna see the sun come up because like you can't just go to sleep on that shit. You're like, I gotta know. I gotta fucking know.
Yeah.
And it's like it's like what 4 or 5 episodes? I think
4,
maybe 4.
Yeah.
4. Yeah, it's like the Night Stalker. Yeah, because we were talking about the Night Stalker,
and that guy.
And then we started
at the
talking
hotel.
about.
That's so crazy.
This right.
Hotel's like the most fucked up, cursed ass place, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
man.
we were talking about the Night Stalker documentary, and then was it Jelly?
No, I think it was Jelly.
No, it was Jelly.
When I came on, you guys were talking about it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, because so we were talking about the Night Stalker documentary on Netflix. That's like 4 or 5 episodes, and then I think Jelly started talking about the Cecil Hotel one, and I'm like, oh, I saw the trailer for that, and we mentioned, that's where all sorts of bizarre dark history in downtown Los Angeles happened. And so then I went and watched that damn thing. I told Skunk about it. Skunk watched it.
This is basically what this podcast is.
Now
done.
I gotta
it's just
watch
a way
it.
for us to share Netflix the docuseries with each other.
Yes.
We were too lazy to text, so we started up an entire fucking podcast.
That's right.
That's funny, dude.
I just keep coming back to Judge Judy because I'm like, what were we talking about? And my brain just goes back to Judge Judy. Oh, I was going to say one thing about
45 million a year.
One thing about the I don't like when people are mean to other people. And I just don't like that. And when it's glorified and celebrated on television, it really makes me mad. And that's why I hate Judge Judy. But so the thing about a lot of those shows like Jerry Springer, it's all fake. It's all staged. I've met a few people over the years that were on Jerry Springer, and it's just bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's entertainment.
Yeah.
I get it, but I feel like it's on a bigger level. And I'm not saying we have to live in the fucking 1950s, leave it to Beaver horse shit, but God damn it, man. Have some fucking dignity. It's gross. In my opinion, I'm bitter old me, whatever. I'm not hip, but I hate
wrong,
those fucking people.
Right? I mean, there's a lot of, it's.
Hate's a strong word. I strongly disapprove of them.
Well, I think I kind of agree with you there. It's just you hate to see something.
I would
like
recommend they
happen,
stay in the
right?
Cecil Hotel. I'll put it that way. May I show you to the roof, sir?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think I hear what you're saying. Like all that stuff laid the groundwork for all the
real world,
kind of the generalization or the I guess kind of how, well, especially nowadays, you see all these mostly celebrities or news kind of look down on half the country or whatever, right? The belligerent nature of just kind of just demonizing people, generalizing people. I mean, I kind of see where that
I think it really,
right?
It boils down to celebrating. Yeah, I mean, you're just celebrating things that are bad, right? You know, and glorifying them, you know, and rewarding them, you know, bad behavior, rewarding bad behavior. That's the whole point. Or that it's
I've definitely never been into that. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you'll see people try to have like a debate or something, right? And then one person will just, you know, they have no way of defending their argument, so they go to personal insults. And then that's the person that's like, oh, he's so awesome or she's so awesome and blah, 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 right?
I'm going to toot my own horn if I may.
Toot away.
One thing I'll say, and I'll relate this to recent recent Facebook posts that I had up after the whole Abbott thing and all that. Like, and Vic, you commented on it, which was hilarious and accurate. But I do these knee jerk things, and I don't do them often. You know, I don't spout a bunch of political stuff on social media too often. Once in a while, I get my feathers ruffled, and I'll get it out of my system. But one thing I do, and I haven't lost friends or anything. I mean, there's been one or two people that I've been like, a few people have, you know, what do you call it, deleted or whatever me, and fine. I don't prefer that, especially no friends though, no close friends, nothing like that. And I'm really good about, like, if something like that happens, people have those reactions, someone comments, I'll end up very, you know, to the best of my ability, eloquently discussing it with them then. And we usually come into a place where we understand each other and everything's cool. And I think that's where the problem is, like you just said, when people just start name calling and not backing down and doubling down, you know, instead of going like, well, let me hear your side of the story. You know what, I do agree with you, but here's where I'm coming from. And then both people will go, yeah, at the end of the day, we just want the same thing. And it's just a rough time, and we're angry, hugs and kisses, and everybody moves on, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't help that you have like Beto O'Rourke, right? Just kind of fanning the flames.
So tell me, because I don't know a lot about what's going on with him. I mean, I know from a political standpoint, when Ted Cruz flew to Mexico and Beto was out there handing out water, that certainly sits better for him. But what's the dirt under the fingernails there?
Well, he's a white guy that goes by the name of Beto.
Oh, so this is personal.
Doggone it. No, I mean, he's just, you know, it's just this political rhetoric. I mean, and it's very frustrating to see people, you know, politicians are really horrible about generalizing characteristics, you know, saying that, you know, this is a death sentence type of stuff. Yeah, instilling fear in the public is where it just really irritates me. So you have folks like Beto, who has, you know, he's still in the limelight because the mainstream media loves him, right? I don't like the guy. I don't trust him. He comes from a pretty privileged family, you know, if you want to use that word. You know,
pretty good percent of politicians do. I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, Brian, and I never want to pressure a guest into talking politics, but I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what I.
Yeah, I don't really talk politics.
Who did you vote for?
This is not something I.
Tell us so that you can get a bunch of hate mail. I have a bunch of.
Not Trump. Let's put it that way.
That's pretty. I mean, honestly, like, you know, there are people that say like, oh, you have to vote. If you don't vote, but I'm just kind of like, I really feel like,
no, you don't.
You don't. My not voting just says I think everything's an awful option, or vote third party, which I've done. And I know they have no point. No, it's pointless. You're wasting your vote. Well, I'm not voting for these other people. So
yeah. I'll tell you. I'll tell you what I don't like, and that's just, it just seems like, you know, people now, they just kind of subscribe to one or the other party and don't do any of their own thinking and just kind of go with whatever that party's saying, just 1,000%. And it just seems like nobody's doing their own critical thinking about anything, and that sucks. I hate that.
Yes.
And I think people are so much better than that. And, you know, I think it's just people aren't trying hard enough
Yeah, no, 1,000,000% right there. That's what's frustrating for me is that everybody's just towing the line. They're looking at the headlines, they're looking at these, celebrities or politicians, musicians they propped up that are just spouting these generalizations,
look where
right?
we are.
Like Michael Moore, right? Michael Moore. Michael Moore is like,
God. We got
so
back to Trey Parker,
Abbott,
right? The whole fucking Team America.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What happened? Oh, we got attacked by a socialist weasel. That fucking guy.
Well, so that dude's like, oh, we don't have to send vaccines to Texas, because they don't believe in COVID.
No, that's not all Texas. That's
dude?
the same kind of bullshit, fucked up logic that you hear from some real prick Texans going like, well, California can just fall off and die and fuck everyone in Cal. These are human beings, you piece of shit. You know what I mean? Look, we're all fucking different. We're all flawed. There's certain, but when you start making a generalization on someone based on politics or where they live or there's that, you might as well be making assumptions based on fucking skin color. You're doing the same fucking thing. You're no better, man. What kind of ridiculous?
They are making assumptions based on skin color.
Yeah, they're doing that too.
It's all bullshit.
They totally are.
Probably, yeah.
Well, I'm brown. I can't think for myself. So some politicians think that they should think for me and people like me, right? Like I shouldn't vote a certain way. I should vote.
You're not allowed to be a Republican, right? That's one thing. No way, sir.
Yeah. If I say, hey, I have the ability to think for myself and say, look, I'm a little liberal here. I'm a little conservative here. This is where I am. And it's like, no, you got to be 100% on one side or the other, or, heaven forbid you drift one way on one issue.
You're racist against your own people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what you call a Mexican Uncle Tom, but that's what you are.
I don't know. Tío Tomás. I don't know.
I was going to say, like,
answer.
we have reached a place now when you think of Jerry Springer becoming this thing in the 90s, right? When it all started, everything went to hell in the 90s, right? And it's like, that's when it started. When it started, like MTV started going to real world and going away from music videos and all that kind.
Oh, I hated
that's where it all started. And Jerry Springer.
Yes.
And look, here we are 30 years later, and literally instead of people throwing chairs going, Steve, it's people storming the Capitol going, Trump. I mean, it's the Jerry fucking Springer show on a national stage, and the world is watching going like, Jesus fucking Christ, America, or, the United States. That's a really ironic name for this country right now.
You know what kills me too is like, it's such, like, it's basically sports.
Yes,
because you
I will
watch
say that.
a game and you see like, you see the same, everybody sees the same foul happen, right? One side of the stadium is like, that wasn't a foul. The other side of the stadium is like, of course that was a foul.
Good analogy.
And it just depends on who you're rooting for. And like, people see the same shit. They see the same statistics. They look at them different ways. It drives me nuts.
It's
like,
mind
it's
blowing
just
the way like,
and it doesn't have
everyone
to be
wants
like
to be
that.
like, well, Trump hung out with Epstein and he grabbed pussies and he liked youngsters, and then the other side's going like, well, Biden massages shoulders and kisses little girls, and how about they're all fucking creeps? How about that? How about why the fuck are we voting for any of these fucking geezers that are fucking have lied to us and fucked us in the ass for 50 years? Like, what the hell's wrong with all of us? Because we don't have any other option.
My preferred,
I mean, so there's something really messed up in the whole pipeline.
Sure. Like, I voted for Biden, but I'm not like sitting here being like, Biden is the greatest human that ever lived. Yeah. And you need to
Biden
think that
never
too.
did anything wrong, Grime Bill. Biden's perfect, Grime Bill.
Yeah, there's no, you'll never hear me say something like that. And it's nuts to me that people do that kind of shit, about politicians. Like,
that's honestly like the thing about Trump. If you put all the politics aside and all the personal stuff, and I can put all that aside, in a weird way, what makes me, and maybe some people say that's his intent, and he tore it open and he exposed all the darkness and all this kind of stuff. And then there's the total fucking loonies who want to be like, well, he's gonna fucking Judgment Day and all the Pizzagate, child trafficking rings,
the QAnon guys,
nut jobs, all this bullshit. But the thing about Trump that bothered me, I mean, assuming he's not, literally Hitler and a racist and a maybe a misogynist, but all this kind of stuff. It's like, dude, the guy's just not a good politician. And I say it's kind of weird to even say that, because I get that you don't want a politician. But when you're the president of the United States, when you're operating at that kind of level, Jesus Christ, you need to be able to articulate and speak and unify. That's your job. And I could never get past that with him, and I'll never defend him because of that. I think he did a ton of damage because of it. And it baffles me how many people subscribe to this guy. It's just, honestly, I find it baffling. And it has nothing really even to do with the politics. It just has to do with the presentation.
Yeah. Well, is that based on what you saw from?
Yeah, I've heard that argument, but we all saw his speeches.
Yeah.
We all saw him say this live, uncensored, and it's not like I was just watching clips on CNN. This is stuff we watched, live.
Well, yeah,
we watched the debates where he's
you,
talking about these are guys running for the president of the United States, and he's calling a guy Little Marco. It was funny. Don't get me wrong. Like, I enjoyed Little Marco, but come on.
But you don't want to see that.
Absolutely
in the leader,
not. It's embarrassing.
Free world, right? This belligerent attitude.
The whole Biden hiding and Sleepy Joe, and you know what? That's great. It is funny. It is funny, but it's not becoming of a president of the United States of America. That's the point. And whatever side you subscribe to, what gets me and Brian. Kind of coming back to this critical thinking, is that none of these parties reflect on why they're, starting with 2016, right? Why their candidate lost, right? Hillary lost. It was misogyny. People didn't want a female president, and maybe it's because they didn't like her. They didn't like the policy. See, all that's just spin to try to fucking shit on the other side. Trying to paint an entire demographic of people just because you vote for one guy, all of a sudden everyone's a racist. That's insanity.
Well, it's also like no one wants to point the fingers at themselves and say, like, we didn't do good enough.
Yeah.
100%. That's the thing too. It's like, well, if you couldn't beat this shitty candidate, maybe, maybe you just didn't put out a good enough candidate to beat. I don't know. Like, I'm no political expert. I don't claim to be, but it's like, I do see that happen where people seem to blame everything else but themselves, and that's
the blame
true
game
of anything.
Nowadays. Man.
I wonder what would happen if, I just randomly, ran for office, but as a black woman. I wonder,
just declare yourself.
You know what I mean? Like,
I identify as a
there would literally be people that are like, this person is my hero.
So brave. Brave and bold.
You'd have a following. I think.
You totally would.
But don't change anything about the way you look or anything. Just go dress exactly as you are right now.
Owens is going to run in 2024 or whatever. Oh, God. I don't understand why she's so up Trump's fucking butt. She can actually speak. She's an intelligent woman. I don't know if she'd get crucified, but she's okay with it. She seems like, you got to be crazy to be any of these people anyway. You got to be you got to kind of I feel like they get off. Trump did. I feel like a lot of these people just get off on the fucking hatred that they get or something. It fuels their fire,
Yep.
Yeah.
I see that all the time.
But
I've been listening a lot to Coleman Hughes and Shelby.
Who's the eye patch guy that you like?
Soul.
And it's sad that I'm referring to someone by their eye patch. We talked about him on a podcast. Crenshaw?
Dan Patrick?
Crenshaw. Yeah,
Dan
Patrick's the, if you're old, go...
Dan Patrick's the ESPN
guy.
Who's the dude that is the Texan guy, though, that's like...
Who am I thinking
the guy that's like...
Navy SEAL?
No, the guy that was like, it's if you're old, I guess you just die. River, right?
Dude.
That's something Patrick.
I think
that's that.
I think his name's Dan Patrick, too.
Fucking turd.
Yeah. Crenshaw's the guy, though. That's who you're thinking of, I think.
Yeah, Crenshaw.
He got into it with Pete Davidson. Do you remember that
Pete
whole
Davidson's
thing?
liberal as fuck. That doesn't surprise me one bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he made a joke about the eye patch or something on SNL.
Yeah, he called him what was it, like a pirate porno star or something?
Yeah, something like that.
That is pretty good.
It was pretty funny.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I he took it in good stride, and and he got invited on SNL, and he got to sit there and roast, Pete Davidson to his face, like on.
So it was actually like a pretty good kind of what do I want to call it? Not like a. Was it cordial? I guess in the way that they exchanged it, or it wasn't like a really brutal Twitter war or something.
I think it turned out that way. I think it could have easily gone the other way, but it's kind of like, it turned out okay.
I think so. He when that happened, he was running for Congress for the first time, I think, and Pete Davidson came up basically with all these mostly GOP candidates. Maybe like one or two Democrats. Just
SNL like hates the GOP. I mean, a lot of people hate the GOP. I don't blame them with what's happened recently, but I thought they were pretty tacky when Trump got elected. Personally, crying and playing songs on the piano. Oh, for fuck's sake, man! You know what I mean?
Oh,
I mean,
that was cringy.
Honestly, though, I say that all this time, and then look how things panned out. So, I mean, I don't want to give any of these people credit because I don't like any of them. I mean, when I say I don't like them, I mean I just don't. Back to your point, Brian. It's like it's this party affiliation, and you just shit all over the other people, and you don't really. I think guys like the comedians, like when Chappelle came out and did a monologue, or Louis C.K. or any of these kind of guys, I feel like they always play, or South Park as the masters of there's no mercy on anybody, right? They're really fair, and that's one thing. I think that's one reason they're so popular. Is there Bill Burr? They shit on everybody because everybody deserves it, and as long as you do that, and I feel like that's kind of your social responsibility if you're like Saturday Night Live or whatever, right? To really play fair. Look, when you have a president in office, everyone's going to go after the president. That's okay. And I really don't like Trump. But I will say, before the pandemic and some of the absolute horrible blunders and disaster that 2020 was, it was kind of like, okay, there are other things to talk about, I mean, Trump kind of fueled the fire and brought it on himself. And honestly, he did do things where I'm like, well, you know what? If I was Jimmy Kimmel, I'd just go after this asshole now too. Trump was very bad at navigating all that. And again, I think maybe he liked it. I don't know. But at a certain point, when you got all these people and then it's all they talk about 24/7, it's like, come on, man. It's
just,
go fucking roast the View for 5 minutes,
Oh, God.
I'll tell you something that'll blow your mind. Maybe you know it already. I don't know. But I watched this recently. Trump hosted SNL twice.
No. Oh, I know. I saw it. It was kind of awkward.
Yeah. Weird. It's weird. Both times he was like, he made the point, he came out in the monologue to say, like, SNL is so lucky to have me. He made that joke twice. Yeah. Like, and it's like, I don't think you're joking.
That guy's crazy. He's crazy. He really is. He's fucking crazy. But I tell you, one of the most uncomfortable moments I've ever seen in TV history was the roast. I'm trying to think who it was. The Comedy Central roast of, I can't think who the guest was. Maybe it was Rob Lowe or something. But it was the panel, and Pete Davidson was on there. He's been pretty, like, I don't know, either Nikki Glaser, Whitney Cummings, or one of those girls, and the Jerry, what's his name, Jeremy Ross or Jeffrey Ross, the typicals, right?
Jeff Ross.
But then they had that Ann Coulter chick on there, and it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It was cringy, gross.
Weird.
First of all, everyone was shitting on her the whole time, to a point where, like, I mean, I don't like her, but I was like, God, this is brutal. And then she goes up there with this awkward, horrible, bombing jokes and promotes Trump's book. I mean, literally, that chick has balls, probably literally. And I mean, it was just so weird and uncomfortable. It was. If you ever seriously go watch the Ann Coulter on the roast, I think it was Rob Lowe. It is one of the most awkward television moments I ever. I was just like, this is fucking weird and hard to watch. You could feel the gross tension in the air.
Yeah.
I think I could tolerate just all the political back and forth, but what really gets me is, just people trying to tell me how to be better. All the just nonstop lecturing, right? That's what.
Give me
really
an example of that. I'm lucky. I don't feel like I get a lot of that. I know it's out there. I don't get it personally coming to me too often.
Well, I mean, I don't.
But I'm lucky though. I don't have to have like corporate meetings where they tell you, what's in the fucking PC playbook this week. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, so some examples. So back in 2016, the election, right? So I flew out. I was actually in Orlando, Florida for work the night of the election. I landed in Orlando and we're just watching this thing, right? So when I take off from Austin, Hillary's in the lead. I get to Orlando and I'm like, oh yeah, Trump's got a couple of votes. I get to my hotel. I'm like, oh, it's a little bit closer now. You know, it's like 2 a.m. and I'm just sitting there drinking beer, watching. You know, I'm like, oh, he's creeping up there. And then, so, you know, he ends up winning, obvious, you know, and just right off the bat, you know, there's that meme of the chick during the inauguration and she's on her knees and she's just screaming and they make this heavy metal theme out of, you know, they play the metal music, right? That chick. Yeah. But anyway, it's like CNN is like reporting on all this stuff. And you know, they're just like, you know, they're just saying stuff like, well, you know, here, you know, a lot of people looks like they voted for Trump, and you know, this part of the country it's just not a lot of educated people, and blah blah blah. And I'm like,
so fucking crazy,
I just write,
yeah,
yes, I couldn't believe they were just saying.
And the interesting thing about
that.
Florida, into what you were saying with the Latin population, a lot of them though, a lot of people that come from Cuba, they are like, they're not having that fucking. They don't even want a whisper of the word socialism.
They've heard it before.
Yeah. So that's why Florida goes
they've
red.
heard it.
Yeah.
They've seen the tactics before, right? So they recognize that stuff, and that's why a lot of them were like, "No, we're
it's so degrading."
You know, he's not the best.
The way these parties treat their own voters, or who they assume to be their voters, and they, like you said, I understand from some of Latin descent, like it'd be very insulting. You know, it's just like if I was painting it'd be like someone painting me, which this is what happens. It's like I'm automatically a racist in KKK because I'm white and from Texas. I mean, it's ludicrous thinking, you know, and there are people that are that fucking batshit crazy. Not the majority, thank God, but they're out there. I mean, Brian is, because he's from New York. That's just what I learned in school.
Yeah, I'm judging you guys so hard right now.
Brian's just like, you guys. I wish I could do a New York accent. I'm so disappointed that you're not meeting my stereotypical expectations of you. You're not what you're supposed to be. God damn it! You don't sound like a New Yorker.
Hey, I'm walking here.
I'm talking. You should every time I keep interrupting you. I'm talking here.
Hey, I'm talking here. No, yeah, man. It's you know, I'm not from the city. That's where people talk like that. You know,
every single person in New York.
There's
City
like a Binghamton accent. Yes.
What is the Binghamton accent? I don't detect an accent with you though. Do you, Vic?
I mean, I don't think I have it anymore, or maybe I never did. People say I don't, but it's like this. It's hard like that, kind of like it's a weird like
a pirate accent.
No, I don't know.
I
think I really need to. I need to get this. I need to practice this because like it's a thing that I can hear and be like, oh yeah, that person's from Binghamton, but I don't think I can quite define it yet. I'll have to come back.
I haven't had it a lot. I do once or twice. I remember when I went to California, and maybe when I was in England at some point. Like there was a few times when someone was just shocked I was from Texas, and they were like, "But you don't sound like it." Like I was supposed to be like, "Howdy, everybody," you know, just yeehaw,
yeah,
you know, like.
People do have that image that Texas is like horses and cowboys, like even still, like it's weird.
I've been asked plenty of times if I have a horse.
Yeah, well, it doesn't help when you come to Texas from New York and end up running sound at a rodeo. That doesn't help our stereotype.
True. Do you guys have horses and cowboy hats? I'm like, well, yeah, we do.
There's a lot of places in the country that have.
Do you have a horse?
Yeah, I was.
I left him parked out in front of the airport before I left.
Like people that don't know like what Austin's like, they were like, you know, well, you better start learning how to play country music, you know. And it's like, nah, man, Austin's you barely find country music here.
You have
Austin to be looking.
Such a great melting pot and of music and culture. It's really wonderful. Like I was talking to I lost my train of thought here. What was I going to say? Someone else say something. I hate Judge Judy.
But yeah, no, it's. I mean,
now we're all watching you. Like, what's Skunk gonna say?
Hurry up, Skunk. I've heard some great country acts here, but you know, it's not as prevalent. You know, I would say, if you're going to be more accurate, it's like, you better learn how to play blues guitar.
Oh yeah, well I mean let's come
like if you're going to be more stereotypical.
Let's come back to what you said earlier about Eric Tessmer. That was it's a stereotype that maybe I don't know because I don't go hang around 6th Street, but I don't think it is what it used to be. The live music in terms of like you go down and you have like Music Row or something on Nashville, and I've been there. This has been a decade, so. But I know there are a lot of cover bands. We interviewed a guy from there. All cover tribute bands. Very hard to be an original band there, even a country band. I think and.
It's got to be bro country.
Yeah, it's very commercialized, right? And I don't get the sense there's of course there's stuff off the beaten path, but I don't get the sense there's a lot of that in the mainstream. And I think 6th Street once upon a time was this beautiful place that had that, and now it seems more dance clubs and loitering and shitbag, after hours. And there's live music, there's Friends, there's these certain venues. There's Antones. There's great acts that come there. Eric Tessmer is a staple. There's that kind of stuff. Carry that sort of Steve Ray Vaughan torch the legacy of that Texas blues, right? But I don't think it is what it used to be, No,
I agree. Yeah, and like if you were to stroll down 6th Street, when things go back to normal and everybody's like playing everywhere and stuff, you're probably going to hear the same Sublime song, in 3 different bars at once.
Bros wearing flip-flops.
You're standing one point in the street, you hear it from one angle, like 3 different angles.
That was always my joke about open mics when I used to play open mics. It's always that douchebag and flip-flops that all he did was learn those 2 chords to play that Sublime song to try to get laid. And
you don't practice.
And the chick and the chick that's gonna fuck that guy is the same girl that doesn't give a fuck that you just played Dark Side of the Moon. She's like, I love Sublime. It's like, oh my God.
Dude. You took me right back. Took me right back
God,
to
I've been
6th
there,
Street.
yeah.
With that one.
I had some fun times.
Yeah, that's like one.
Where did you play open mics on 6th Street? I used to play B.D. Riley's. I met a lot of people there when I first moved here. That was a great place.
Yeah, I played B.D. Riley's a couple times because they would do like Monday night. If they liked you or whatever, they would have you like be a showcase artist on Monday night there. That was the cool thing. Like, so you'd get to play like a half-hour set. And they'd give you like a $20 drink tab or something to do that, and that was your big reward. But you got to kick off the open mic night and like be the
star of the show.
And I remember that was
back
was
in the
fun.
days when you're telling your friends to come see you at an open mic. God bless my friends and what they went through. I mean, Vic can attest to this shit because he's known me more or less from the time I started playing here, pretty close to it. And Vic, what was the old? It's not. It's off the beaten path. It ain't a 6th Street joint. What's the one? You ever played there, Brian? Giddy Ups?
No, classic. I've heard of it. I haven't been there.
Man. Yeah. I will say I did get free beer just by going to your open mics there.
Dude, Giddy Ups, man. Yeah, I mean, we had Will Knack on here. I mean, Giddy Ups was the shit back in the day, dude. There was some fucking killers.
Nice.
Ted would hook us up.
Yeah, old Ted, his girlfriend stirring my goddamn drink with her fucking finger. Oh, Jesus Christ. Dude, I think I told this story on a podcast where I walk up to the bar and it was one of those places where they have beer, but you could bring alcohol, right? And then you buy a Coke or whatever. So they had a bottle of rum or something, and they're like, "Oh, you want a drink?" I'm like, "Sure." So get a Coke, and they're pouring the drink, and this chick sticks her dirty ass finger, and it was like that scene in fucking National Lampoon's The Vacation, that great movie with Chevy Chase and Anthony Michael Hall and Randy Quaid, and they go see Cousin Eddie or whatever. And there's this part where I'm trying to think, it's like the daughter or something is doing something with her finger, stirring a drink, and Chevy Chase is just like, "Can I help you with that, please?" I was just like,
that's so funny,
man.
Smoking a cigarette in one hand, like
and that dude would just run around barefoot like everywhere all the time.
Oh yeah,
but
you guys ever go to that spot, Firehouse off 6th Street? It's on Brazos right there.
Did they ever have jazz there? Or am I thinking of a different place? Maybe.
Yeah. They'd have jazz there sometimes, but every Wednesday they did an open mic. It was pretty killer. It was like a speakeasy vibe, so there's like a bookshelf that you had to move over to get back there and stuff. But it was killer, man. I used to go there every Wednesday for a while. That's where
I mean, when I first moved here, I was all about going like open mics, man. It was fun. I mean, and after a while you're like, okay, I don't want to wait for 3 fucking hours to play. Like there's been times, or certain people, I encourage people that haven't done it to go to a blues jam or go do something. And so I've gone out a few times, but you get to a point where like, I don't want to wait around and watch a bunch of other people play. I mean, sometimes it's fun and you might see some good acts, but it's, I just don't have the energy.
Especially when you get
anymore.
out like gigging more, you start landing those gigs, and it's like you're playing for 2-3 hours somewhere else. It's like the last thing you want to do is go like hang out somewhere and wait to play for 10 minutes or something. I
mean, I guess if I was like
when I got
famous, then I would just walk into an open mic and like fuck someone else over and get on stage and play and then leave. I feel like playing tonight. Oh my God, he's famous. Okay, new guy, fuck you. This guy is gonna play. That's how it works.
Just get up on stage and hold your hand up and
it's like
have
those
somebody toss a
snobby
guitar to
6th
you.
Street blues jams. We're like, do you play blues? Because if you don't, you can't play here because blues is the only kind of music, blues. And then they get up there and they fucking, jack themselves off on, pentatonic scales for 4.5 hours. And they're like, okay, everyone else, the other 900 of you that signed up get 30 seconds apiece to come play your song. I mean, it's bullshit, man.
Yeah, I've only been to one of those.
They're the worst.
It wasn't really
they're the
my
worst.
vibe.
They happened to me at Maggie Mays and we left. Maggie Mays can suck my fucking cock. I hate that bar so much. First of all, someone roofied me in there and I got arrested. The only time in my life I've ever been arrested because I got roofied. I know this now. I didn't know it at the time. And secondly, we went to an open mic, and just because we looked different, it was like I felt like I was, being profiled, like, because of skin color, but it was because we weren't dressed in the proper attire with a Fender Stratocaster to their liking, and they were like, "Wait, by God, we're not going to have these guys up here. We don't trust them. They're going to play Metallica when we're going to play like fucking Jimi Hendrix and cool shit." And they wouldn't. But my buddy who shined Stevie Ray Vaughan's boots in 1984 is here, so he's got to come up here and play the same 12-bar blues song he's been playing for 75 fucking years. Nah, fuck that shit.
I don't ever want to hear another story of like a guy just being like, I hung out with Stevie Ray Vaughan in his house. He just had me over.
Stevie Ray Vaughan took a dump in my toilet. I don't care. I don't give a fucking shit that you knew Stevie Ray Vaughan. Sorry.
I don't really care, and like B, that probably
Right, you're
didn't
lying
happen.
anyway,
I feel
you
like
fuck.
it's that. What is it like? Chris Farley, like that Veronica Vaughn is one hot piece of ace, and they're like, I hooked up with her or whatever he says, and they're like,
He's like, no, you didn't.
But I had a friend who did. No, you didn't.
I know, right? That's the joke.
Good, great, grand,
That's
wonderful.
the joke with
What
us.
movie was that? Billy Madison?
Is it Billy
No,
Madison?
wait, with who
Maybe?
said that? Chris
It was a Sandler
It was
movie.
Farley.
Yeah, it was Chris Farley.
was in Billy Madison?
He was like
a
just
bus
a bus
driver.
driver.
Shit, you're
yeah,
right.
I think.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that was it.
Yeah, dude.
Was
one
it?
of the best scenes from an Adam Sandler movie for sure. But
I
that's
think it was Billy Madison. Yeah.
so that's that old guy at the bar is like, talking about Veronica Vaughn, but really talking about Stevie
Yes,
Ray Vaughan.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
The Vaughns.
Now, when it comes to Eric Johnson, that shit is true because I knew this from where I used to work, and everybody would see Eric Johnson, and like everybody met me had seen him, and they all had done amp exchange, right? Vic, we've talked to at least 2 people that have sold a fucking or bought an amp or sold or done some kind of business transaction with Eric Johnson, right? I want to just like I want to like find a way to contact Eric Johnson and just be like, dude, I got a killer deal on a 24-pack of Duracells.
And some rusty shoulders for a Fender.
Yeah.
I think I heard you guys talk about Eric Johnson on the Dave Scher episode.
And
Yeah, that was a good
dude,
one.
It's so true,
Yeah.
man. Eric Johnson is known for just being extremely meticulous with tone. But he's Eric Johnson, so it's kind of like, what are you going to argue? Hell no. No one's going to argue with it.
No.
If I was playing with Eric Johnson, I'd be like, and he told me like anything, I'd be like, okay. I'll change my Energizer battery. You're Eric Johnson, I'm not.
The man's got a song on Guitar Hero.
Right,
Show
exactly,
some respect,
Skunk, I need you to put on this tutu. It makes the tone sound better when it's coming through the amp.
Dude, the
tutu and clown shoes and ride
Oh,
this
seriously.
unicycle, and your tonal sound.
There's
great.
a great old Bill Hicks skit where he talks about Elvis's I don't know what the guy, stagehand or some roadie or something, Charlie Hodge is his name. And it's like the whole bit, he just keeps going, give me my scars and water. Bring my Charlie Hodge, ladies and gentlemen, bring my scars and water. And then it just keeps more and more ridiculous each time. He's like, Charlie Hodge, a popsicle stick up his butt and all this ridiculous shit. And it's just, that's what that made me think of, like completely absurd. But yeah, I'd be like, I'll be Eric Johnson unicycle guy, and I'll fucking, I'll come out. Here's your Duracell, sir. So here's the funny thing is there's a few different people. I mean, we mentioned him many times because we knew him back and worked at Strum Music, Keenan Levick, right? And I know he had done something with Eric Johnson, Dave Scher, obviously, and then there was someone else we talked to, I think too. I can't remember who. Maybe
yeah, he bought
Carter.
an amp off of him. I think it might have been Carter.
Well, Carter played a gig with him, but who knows? I mean, there's a lot of guys who have come across or met up, done some kind of gear exchange
I just know
with Eric Johnson.
Yeah, like bought an amp or something, right?
But we had one episode, and this was a funny episode because we remember that we shit all over Green Day, and on Chris DeVore's episode, and it was so funny because we start talking about Eric Johnson, and I start just going into full cocksuck mode where I'm like, oh, Eric Johnson's so great, and then Chris DeVore's like, but I hate Eric Johnson. And he just goes off on Eric Johnson. I'm like, whoa there, cowboy.
Oh my God,
like,
what?
Slow down. And then at the end of the show, he like started shitting on Allison Chains. And then we were like, you're never allowed on our podcast again.
Yeah, that's when you have to cut. That's when you have to cut the stream. It's
like the Beatles thing. People sometimes say stuff like, I know one guy that hates the Beatles, and I kind of want to have him on the podcast and just try to publicly shame him. But you're going like, why? I don't understand. But you know what? Honestly, we're all like, it's a thing you feel strongly about, and I'm pretty subjective and open minded. I like a lot of different music, but I mean, there are certain bands that I absolutely loathe, and so I guess some people, for whatever reason, feel that way about Allison Chains. It doesn't make any sense. I can't comprehend it. But if you say Smashmouth, I'm going to react the same way. Brian, I get this weird feeling you might like Smashmouth, though. I'm sorry if that's an insult, but maybe, I don't know.
I had a moment, but that was middle school. I think you could cut me some slack. I'm just trying to be honest with you here.
I'll tell you.
Brain
here's how much I hate.
Right?
Here's how much I hate Smashmouth. My parents.
Okay.
This was like between when maybe before I moved to Austin or something. Whatever the fucking Shrek was this big, so my parents go rent. This is rent Shrek. And of course, I was living with my parents, and I was like in my 20s. So I've already like want to kill myself. And then I'm like, I guess I'll watch this fucking Shrek movie. The movie starts off, and the Smashmouth All-Star song comes on, and I just got up and left the room. And ever since, I'm like, I refuse to watch any Shrek movie. They're stupid and terrible, and I hate Shrek. And a lot of people love Shrek, and I don't care. The fact that they open that with Smashmouth, that's how much I hate Smashmouth.
I've definitely left bars because the band started playing Sublime. That's where I'm at. I hate Sublime so much. That's the band
I feel like
for me.
Anyone who's played open mics is allowed to hate Sublime. Nothing will make you hate Sublime like playing open mics and there's that guy.
Or just like kicked around on 6th Street for a while because you just hear that so much, and it's just like, guys, come on,
Santeria or whatever. Yeah.
I was before the lockdown, like last February, I was in a bar in Boston, and they had like an open mic, or not an open mic. They had a band playing in this really old bar, historic downtown, but they were playing Dave Matthews and Sublime.
Woo!
And more Dave Matthews, and I drank a lot.
Wonderwall? Did they throw Wonderwall in there? Maybe.
No.
Seems like that would be a good fit in with all that.
Okay,
little
massive
Oasis
douchebags, and then what a horrible mix. It's like the guitar. Today is gonna be the day that I hate Oasis. God, I can't stand those guys.
It's funny. I think
a lot on this podcast.
I got to be honest with you. Yeah, I know
I hate
really diving in, man.
I hate Judge Judy.
I will stand by Oasis a little bit. I think people ruin that. I think douchey guitar players ruined, kind of coffee shop guitar players ruined Wonderwall. I think that song is actually pretty good. But that's a hot take. I'm coming at you, Skunk.
And you have a right to. This is America. God damn it.
I actually like the instrumental song on that movie Snatch.
That's an Oasis song?
That's an Oasis song. The boxing
is.
match, the bare knuckle boxing match toward the end, right? Where Bricktop and everything are waiting outside in the alley for those guys. That's an instrumental. It's an instrumental. So
I think my big beef with the Oasis
you might be able to
was the way they were. I just got this douchey vibe in this whole like we're the new Beatles.
It's the British version of Skunk and Chef. Two brothers.
Man, that is the worst insult I've ever received. You could have said I had a small, tiny little penis, and I would have taken way less offense than what you just said. Getting compared to Oasis is the worst.
You've cut to the core of me.
Cut to the core of me, sir. There will be no our last podcast tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, dude. Oh my God! Well, it's been an honor.
I mean, I should have known this ship had sailed when we opened up with fucking hamsters or whatever the hell Vic pulled up on.
God, yeah, that really,
yeah. Who answers?
That was the moment.
This whole thing was gonna. Every now and then, Brian, I apologize because sometimes we have a podcast and we let the guests talk and it's really interesting, and other times this happens. So, it is what it is.
It's all good, man.
This podcast is, man. Tonight's podcast is going to end with what's the Curb Your Enthusiasm guy?
Larry David.
Larry David, where he's like, I think somebody had like how guys say goodbye to each other. It's like, fuck you, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh man. No, I mean that's the thing though. Like I joke around and I say when it comes to like music and stuff, I mean. I'm not like that psycho Slayer guy who wants to fight you if you don't like Slayer, right? I'm not that guy. Like if you like Smashmouth, okay, fine. And if someone wants to, piss all over my favorite band, that's fine. It's their right. This shouldn't be that big of a deal, right? Because those things at the end of the day, they're just bands, right? They influence us and impact us greatly, and they're huge and spiritual to us. So if someone's fucking Smashmouth that Smashmouth, does the same for them that Pink Floyd does for me, okay. That just means they're dumb. No, I'm just kidding. It's just
I gotta ask you because I'm an Allison Chains guy myself. Definitely, a band that I grew up listening to quite a bit. I gotta ask you the big question.
Oh, no. Is this
how do
about
you feel
singers?
about
Look, I wish I could have seen Lane Staley. Lane Staley is an icon. He was fucking phenomenal. I was always a huge fan. Facelift and Dirt. I mean, golly.
I like how I didn't have to
I
even
knew
ask
where you were
the
going
question.
with it. I knew where you were going.
Yeah.
I don't like when people are like that because I think it's like, come on, give it a chance. I think William Duvall's great. I think they're fucking. I've seen him 4 or 5 times live now. They knock it out of the park. Every song was a hit.
Fantastic.
They're on fire.
Yeah.
They're brilliant. I mean, they're just. And I like everything Allison Chains has ever done. I mean, what I have liked.
Yeah, I caught him at the Moody Theater. It was so good.
Was that the Black Gives Way to Blue or the Dinosaur?
Devil Put Dinosaurs Here?
What's the Devil Put Dinosaurs Here?
I think it was the Dinosaurs Here one.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that album quite as well.
I've seen
but
all 3.
Black Gives Way to Blue is an awesome
great
album.
album.
I love
it's
that
great
album.
Fantastic.
Like it's so good.
Yeah, every album's great.
Yeah,
I think all their new stuff is great too. I really don't think they've ever dropped the ball,
I think man, I might have seen him at Stubbs before that new album.
We saw him at Stubbs. Jerry Cantrell threw his guitar. Remember that? His guitar. He got an out-of-tune guitar, and he was pissed. Threw it at his guitar tech.
Yeah. And
I caught Jerry Cantrell.
Oh,
doing
Foggy
his
Depot?
own project. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty damn good. I'm glad Allison Chains came back.
Dude. Me too. Big time.
Yeah. Yeah, because they were touring with William Duvall. They were doing the entire Allison Chains catalog, and then they came out with Black Gives Way to Blue, and that album was phenomenal. It was great.
So good. That is such a great album. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. William Duvall, he had like a side project with.
We had another band before them called. I always forget the name of it too. But it's like they plucked him from something else, which he probably still has. And I know he does solo acoustic shows and stuff too. Autumn something.
Well, he did. The project he did was one of the guitar players from Mastodon, and I can't remember the third guy. Great songs on that one. Damn it! Now I'm gonna.
So this wasn't his band prior to Allison Chains. This is actually another band that has or it was just a super group that's existed for a while?
It's a super group that came out probably after The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here.
Oh.
Like in between that album and Rainier
It's like his
Fog,
Mad Season.
right? So, yes. Yeah.
Remember that? You know that one, of course.
Good call.
Yeah,
Good call.
Yeah. It's a great
Yeah,
album.
good call.
Let's see. It's a trippy band.
You got any particular favorite? Can you name a favorite Allison Chains album?
Oh, Facelift, for sure.
That's interesting. A lot of people say Dirt,
mean-
and honestly, it's so hard to honestly pick one. But man, Facelift is so fucking good. I think Allison Chains.
Yeah, there's not like a bad moment on that whole album.
They're
It's so good.
at opening tracks too. I think We Die Young is one of the greatest intros to an album. That's how they made their stamp. That you put that on, and you're like, this band rules, like immediately. You know what I mean?
I'll probably piss off a lot of people, but I always preferred Allison Chains over Nirvana.
I think a lot of people do.
Dude,
A
I'm
lot
with
of
you.
people do. But Nirvana's
I'm with
just
you.
bigger in pop culture, and so everyone
Yeah.
hears the name Nirvana. You know, but
Yeah.
Allison Chains is. I mean, it's kind of like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones of the '90s, right? And everyone's just knows Nirvana. Nirvana's always going to be the. You know, I'm not saying like in terms of like. I don't even want to use the word talent, but just overall catalog. I prefer Allison Chains. I love Nirvana too. I think Nirvana's great, but I think that Nirvana just all reached that unachievable. No one else will ever get the Beatles status. But hey, being the Rolling Stones is real fucking cool too. You know what I mean? And so I think it's kind of one of those things. You know.
Here's the band. Giraffe Tongue Orchestra
wow.
is the name of the band.
Dude, I gotta Google that.
Yeah, wouldn't have come up with that.
William Duvall, Brent Hines from Mastodon.
I love that title. That's
And,
a great name.
Yeah, Ben Wynham of Dillinger
No
Escape
fucking
Plan.
way, dude.
That's
wow.
Yeah,
that's
Thomas.
almost
Yeah,
that's
Thomas
almost as
Pridgen
good
of the
as-
Mars Volta.
Wow. Holy shit.
that's
Oh, they
almost
got-
as good as Hamsters in the Bathtub.
Yeah.
Well, wait, there's associated acts: Mastodon, Dillinger Escape Plan, Allison Chains, Mars Volta, and Death Clock.
Death Clock. Zappa plays Zappa. Yeah, so Pete Griffin, I
Holy
guess, plays
fucking
with
shit.
Dweezil. Yeah, so the album's Broken Lines, and I was trying to remember the track, the first track they put out.
Why does it say members and it says Juliette Lewis?
I think originally she was in the
Wow,
band.
that's wild. She's kind of a little nutty, so that seems rock band seems right for her.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah, no
shit!
kidding.
Wow, that's awesome. There's another band called what is it? The something of the Saber-Tooth Tiger, which is like it's one of the Lennons. I think it's Sean Lennon. And I heard some stuff of that was pretty cool. And have you guys heard the Claypool Lennon stuff? It's fucking badass.
No, I don't think so.
Like Les
Yes.
Claypool?
I mean, Les Claypool and Sean Lennon. No, it's called the Claypool. Oh, what the fuck is it? The Lennon Claypool. Oh God, hold on. Yeah, the
Going back
Claypool
to
Lennon
the-
Delirium, dude. That shit's fucking awesome. I would, go check out. It's fucking
Check
cool,
that out.
man.
Yeah, so the single that Giraffe Tongue put out, I think is called Blood Moon. Fantastic song. Fucking great.
What's the vibe? Like kind of sort of Smashmouthy or?
Yeah, Smashmouth meets Green Day
Man, it sounds
with a little bit of Oasis sprinkled in there.
Which Smashmouth album are we talking
I
about?
mean, it's kind of like
Oh.
Allison Chains. Like I can't pick a favorite. They're all so great,
Yeah.
Someone like, what's your favorite Smash
like
Mouth? All of them, I guess.
All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
celebrate the entire catalog. It's like trying to pick your favorite. What was the band we were talking about on the last podcast? Oh, Limp Bizkit.
Oh, okay. What are your thoughts on that band, Brian?
I don't know. I definitely had a moment too. We're talking middle
Well, you
school.
see, I
Smash
can
Mouth,
give you a pass.
Limp
'cause they're
Bizkit,
younger.
you know. But I will say, man, I hear that come on, every once in a while. It's not usually by accident. You don't hear this out in the wild very much, but sometimes I'll put it on, be like, okay, okay.
They've
I'll
contained
admit,
it.
Yeah.
I'm not being totally fair because I haven't gone and like really listened to these bands. I really haven't. and I don't feel like I need to. But
No, you don't.
I think
I would not recommend this band to anyone.
It's like, look, if I hear All Star and I hear Nookie and I hear Man in the Box, I don't need to hear anymore. I know what I'm going with, So,
Nookie. You're going
thank you. I'm glad you picked up on that. Jeez. So obvious. Yeah, man. So there's the douche factor too. I never saw Allison Chains and thought that they came off like a bunch of douchebags. You look at Fred Durst and you just want to punch that fucking backwards hat right off his head. You know what I mean? It's just such a
1000%. Yeah.
So I mean, I'm a big Limp Bizkit hater. Everybody knows it. It's cool. Some people love Limp Bizkit, and that's okay.
I wouldn't say that I love Limp Bizkit, but there's this guilty pleasure, deep part of me that
likes to break
doesn't
stuff.
Completely hate it.
Hey, you know what?
After 5 tequila
when I used
shots.
to play open mics and stuff.
I want to break stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
When I used to play open mics and they did the Who cover, I went and played that motherfucker at open mics. I mean, it's a Who song,
dude.
But they made they did that whole thing. It was popular. It was okay. I don't know. I saw them do a cover of Master Puppets where the eyeball guy, Wes, whatever, Borden or Borland or whatever his name is.
Oh, no.
It was not good.
Oh, yeah.
They were tuned down to like R flat and it just didn't sound good. It was not cool. I didn't like it.
I couldn't imagine that being good.
Well, I think they covered Sanitarium too. I think all their biggest hits were like covers almost, like Faith. Sanitarium, they used to do the same. They did Faith was their first big thing, and then they did the Behind Blue Eyes.
I didn't.
You gotta have faith.
That is the dumbest shit. I mean, come on, dude. You know what Limp Bizkit is? Limp Bizkit is bro country for metal guys. That's what it is. It's like that's all it is. It's the same demographic of people, I mean, wow, I'm really being stereotypical, but I think it's okay. Look, it's not cool if you do it with skin color, but it's totally cool if you do it with music. Like you can't judge people based on skin color or religion or the state they live in, but you can judge those motherfuckers on music. Music tells you everything you need to know about somebody. I listen to Limp Bizkit and Smashmouth and Sublime. Get the fuck out of my state, dude. Not even out of my house.
Yeah, if somebody comes up and says Limp Bizkit is my favorite band, it's gonna be tough.
You're not gonna be like, let's go grab a beer, right? You're gonna be like, I'm really busy for the rest of my life.
Listen,
Fuck.
Hey, bro, you know where I can get some backwards caps?
Bro, you gotta have faith, bro. Let's go break stuff, bro.
Dude.
Get some nookie, bro.
Let's do some tequila shots.
Yeah. Man, and then the same two guys get like really deep. And they're like, I don't know, man. Life's just like a wonder wall, bro. It's just like, I just want to be an all-star.
You ever sit around and just think, man, it's just like a wonder wall, man. Like, you ever think like love is what I got? You ever think about that?
Great reality show would be. Oh man, love. Oh, I don't know. Honestly, I don't hate Sublime like you do. Like, I understand where you're coming from. I do, but I don't
get it.
Have a hatred for Sublime. Maybe it's because I've been detached from open mics for 15 years. Maybe that's what it is. If I had been fresh off an open mic, I'd be hating hardcore on fucking Sublime right now.
I think there's just those bands that just for some people it just sounds like nails on a chalkboard.
Dave Matthews.
And that's just
Dave
that
Matthews
for me.
To me sounds like a donkey getting raped. Like whatever the donkey show sounds like honestly, like I feel like if I ever went go to Tijuana, which I won't, and watch the donkey show, I feel like the sound that donkey makes is exactly what a Dave Matthews record sounds like to me. Like
apologies to donkeys. No one said
hee-haw. What's your name? Hee-haw. I don't even know a satellite. Hee-haw, hee-haw.
Yeah.
Look, Dave Matthews
I don't really have anything to say
great
about that.
Band.
Yeah.
I don't have anything personal against Dave Matthews. He doesn't come across as douchey. The thing with Dave Matthews, and he's got an original sound. I will give props for that. I've never really been able to get into it. There are some cool songs. There's some cool music, but it's kind of this jammy thing that never. I think what happened was like, a group of really popular frat boys loved it, and so then the chicks that wanted to blow those frat boys started liking it. And then it just grew into this gross thing, and this whole community of college people that want to blow each other just love Dave Matthews. And I think it just kind of ruined Dave Matthews, but I mean,
that's pretty accurate.
It's historically accurate, actually, Vic. That's exactly what happened. There's a book about it called I Want to Blow the Person Who Listens to Dave Matthews. Who's that? There's an oh yeah. I used to
Did you write that book?
It's one page, one line book. It just says hee haw.
As written by a cover artist, Pink Floyd cover
Pink
artist.
Floyd cover artist, yeah. Oh, I have no room to shit on. That's the thing, dude. I have no room to shit on anybody. I'll do it because
No.
My cover band was the worst. We sucked at everything, but we had fun doing it. But I don't think I've ever played a Dave Matthews song. Proud to say, maybe a Sublime song.
I've done it.
I could see that. Are you a John Mayer fan? John Mayer is another one that gets shut on a lot, but he's such a great guitar player, man. He's a fucking great guitar player.
Yeah, I've seen him do some really cool stuff before, but I wouldn't call myself a fan.
Yeah, I never. Hey, buddy, the Wonderland.
It's also that douche thing. Like he just seems like such a douche.
It's hard to know, because he is a great player, and he seems like he's definitely, feel like someone that would have a high respect for the blues and the players, and he's kind of in the circle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's a tough call. I don't know.
There's that drummer that plays with him, Steve Jordan. That's just killer. In like the John Mayer trio, man, that dude. I kind of feel the same about Dave Matthews. Like I don't still listen to the Dave Matthews Band ever, but like Carter Beauford, man.
Oh, they're badass.
Is just killer to watch. Yeah, like it's
absolutely.
I could just watch him for like the 5-hour Dave Matthews show and probably be entertained because he's like not only just killer on the drums, but just having the time of his life. Like
honestly, with certain things, like I don't have I really, to be like totally honest, when it comes to like Dave Matthews, it's just an easy target and it's just fun to make fun of it because he has that weird voice and it's just a fun thing to make fun of. And then the demographic, you can kind of, and then the cliche demographic that likes it. So it's just a fun punching bag. Yeah. But I don't have any real thing against them. And the band is they're good musicians and all that. But when it comes to like Limp Bizkit or something, then I'm like, this is not good, and I'll stand by that. Good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I first started working at my company a while back, and I would have to go to San Antonio for training or whatnot, right? So I'd go down there, and it was like almost every person I ran into in San Antonio, the number one, two questions that I got asked the most, because our office was by the Blizzard
what year
office.
Was this?
2007. Okay. Right. So we had an office next to Blizzard. Blizzard makes World of Warcraft, right? So the top two questions I'd always get is, hey, do you go and hang out with the Blizzard guys? And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, what's up with this World of Warcraft bullshit, right? And the second question was, hey, do you listen to DMB?
Oh, yeah, DMB.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the city of San Antonio, or a lot of people.
Oh man, there must be a lot of closet Dave Matthews fans because they're known for their big metal, the whole big metal thing there.
Yeah, I thought it was a metal town. That's what I always thought, but I could be way
off. This is Vic's
Scandal.
leaking out some CIA shit right now. This is
that's right.
Like the Edward Snowden of San Antonio.
You got to get some,
the metal.
You got to get some San Antonio musicians on here to defend themselves.
So I hear Dave.
All of a
can
sudden,
you imagine getting that fucking San Antonio Slayer guy? Just the guy that lives and dies. He's 75 years old and still only listen to Slayer. And they'll be like, so I heard Dave Matthews Band. He's just like dies of a fucking heart attack. Fucking real.
Or worse, he starts rattling off all his favorite Dave Matthews songs.
Dies in shame.
And just
then you see a headline is like, Metallica will no longer play in San Antonio.
You know what's funny? I bet you somewhere there is that guy that he like tries to keep up that persona, and he's at all the metal shows with his big jacket with all the fucking patches and
with his Daisy Duke shorts with the pockets hanging out.
But he goes home and like sings. He's like that guy in that movie Dead Man on Campus where he gets caught singing show tunes. He goes home and sings fucking Dave Matthews songs. Singing Dave Matthews in the car on the way to the Slayer show. On Come and Take It Live, and he gets here, he's like, fucking Slayer, bro. Fuck, I ain't no pussy, man. I ain't no pussy.
Yeah, he just like barely in time turns it down before he pulls into the parking lot. So no one hears it.
Was that March of the Ants? I don't even know any Dave Matthews. Is that
Yeah, he's like, no, I said, man, my hyena listens to that.
It's my girlfriend's car.
His
Like,
like
dude, you don't have
ringtone
a
goes off, and it's just like, oh,
dude, you just gave me an idea. Like sometimes I'll sleep through an alarm. I could just set a Dave Matthews song for an alarm. That shit,
dude, don't do
God,
it.
it's like 6
Don't do
a.m.
it. I can tell you. I tried this technique, actually, this very technique, not with Dave, but with like I used to just really hate all country music, but now I don't. I'm actually like a fan of like kind of old school country and. But like the country I can't do. But I would set my alarm to like come on like the country radio station in Binghamton. So I would just wake up and just be like, all right, I'm up. This thing but honestly, I found it made me wake up like pissed off every day.
I can 100% I can so relate.
Which is not great.
I can so relate because when I first moved here, so my uncle here had a vending business for years, right? And so we would wake up and go in at like the crack of dawn, and you had to fill all your orders and load the truck and go around town and deliver all this stuff and fill machines and all this. And I'd go in there, and the other guy, super nice guy, older dude, was kind of ran the place a bit, was like managed stuff, would be in the room. It was a little room with all the snacks and all this bullshit. He had this little desk and stuff there, and it played country radio, like pop country radio. And so you're talking 5:30, 6 in the morning, whatever. And I'm sitting there. I mean, I need fucking Pantera. I need something to fucking get me going, dude. Fucking get some coffee and I'm sitting here.
Dave Matthews
Band just fucking hit the gym, bro. The gyms are the worst. Gyms play the most awful music. Like I want to get pumped, dude. I can't get pumped to some goddamn, It could even be something good, but I need come on, dude.
The top 10
pop shit,
whatever,
that's the worst.
Bullshit.
It's like
Hanson. It's that, and then sometimes they'll throw it back to like
bop comes on. It's kind of, come on, dude.
Sometimes they'll throw it back to like Jock Jams. Do you remember Jock Jams? Those compilations.
Oh, no.
Anybody?
I remember seeing the commercials.
Jam. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Like the stadium songs or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's just like cotton candy, sweet and gold. Let me see that Tootsie Roll.
Fuck yeah, 500 pounds. Let's do this.
They'll just play that shit, and I'm thinking of Planet Fitness for the most part.
Planet Fitness. That doesn't surprise me at all because Planet Fitness is like, it's okay if you're fat, and if anybody grunts, we're kicking them out. That people would literally Planet. I mean, they're like only $10 a month, so it's a good deal, I guess. But I remember someone I don't like them. No one likes a meathead bro, right? But dude, I'm gonna be honest. Like when you're working out, you make noise. It happens. It's okay. I worked out for a couple of years at a gym. I really loved it. I didn't really have a problem with anybody. I didn't have a problem with the big muscle guys. I didn't have a problem with anybody. Yeah. I thought everyone was really cool.
Don't grunt, but come back next Tuesday. We've got pizza night.
He was grunting, and it made me I need pizza after my.
Dude, they actually have pizza night once a month.
I'm gonna fucking sign up now.
It's outrageous.
Fat skunk.
But I'm not gonna lie. I did grab a slice.
Fuck yeah, you would. Who wouldn't? Dude,
you can't
$10 a month.
There's pizza at the gym.
That's cheaper than Papa John's. Maybe less diarrhea too. When I was going with the, what was I yapping about? Shit, it was good.
Oh God, I cut you off.
Cool.
I cut you off.
We're talking about the gym.
Before the gym.
Was it before the gym?
It'll come back. Where was it?
Doing deadlifts or something, listening.
Making noise, grunting.
Making noise.
Skunk grunts.
It'll pop back in my head. We can continue.
Oh, alarm clock.
Hee-haws, alarm clocks.
Hee-haws, alarm clock.
Dave Matthews Band alarm clocks.
This is where we need callers. This is if we were live. Bro country. I feel like we're getting warm.
Bro country. Oh, your uncle's vending business.
It. And so 5:30 in the morning or whatever. And I mean, I'm like, I want some, Master Puppets or something. And I'm hearing. I was
some masturbation tunes.
Masturbation to yacht rock. I don't know why I equate that to masturbation, but I do. But it was the songs that unfortunately I don't remember many of them. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some good George Strait songs and stuff that would come on, great songs. But this one Reba McEntire song, I never forgot. It came on. It's like about her son or whatever, and I'm an ass with no kids and I don't care. So fuck you, But so maybe that's all sentimental to mommies in Nashville. I'm such an asshole, but like it's. But
I'm just letting you go, man.
But I'm like, it's just like seriously, dude. Like, not everything has to be Roger Waters, but I'm kind of like, it's like something about our kid. It's like early morning attitude. Only frosted flakes will do. And at that moment, I was like, okay, I'm gonna start filling my orders at night because I cannot fucking deal with this shit. And I'll never forget. It was also when Dimebag got shot, and that's how I heard about it. That came on country radio, and it was like a blur between like two country songs. With that kind of lyrical content, it was like heavy metal guitar player Dimebag Darrell was assassinated last night, and now to I don't know, Billy Ray Cyrus. It was just like I can't do this right now.
Achy breaky heart.
I think I ate a lot of free snacks that day. Best part of that fucking job, dude. Speaking of Diet Coke, man. When I first moved here, my apartment, my roommates, we had these cabinets in our kitchen that were just full of sodas because you had to pull these things, even though they're not bad. When the day goes bad, there were people at, we delivered to tech companies and stuff. They get real fucking pissy at I get that you don't want expired, but those things last way longer than the date, right? So we just had scores, hundreds of Diet Cokes and Diet Dr. Peppers and this and that. I mean, so many soft drinks forever. But whenever so I would have to pull stuff. I'd come home every few weeks or something, or I don't remember anymore, but just with a shitload of snacks and drinks and horribly unhealthy shit, right? And there was this one place that had like these little beef jerky cheese sticks, and nobody in one of the snack machines, and nobody ever bought them. Like maybe one would sell over whatever month or two we took them out, and so at once every couple months or something. It was like the money day, dude, because that whole thing I'd have to clear it out, and I would just drive around like the whole day eating these fucking beef jerky, little cheese snacks.
Dude.
It was a pretty, I wouldn't do it again, but it had its perks.
Yeah.
Only Frosted Flakes will do.
Man.
Anyway.
Frosted Flakes will do, man. That's a terrible
I didn't see a documentary about,
I don't care what it's
Ken
about.
Burns thing. It's just done documentaries on everything, and they're great. And there was something about Nashville, and they were talking about all these different legendary artists, and I have a lot of respect for a lot of country singers, and I'm not trying to shit on Reba. Reba deserves what she has, and it was really cool. There was a thing about her in there, and I was watching. It was really interesting. Really hardworking woman, and a lot of these old. But I mean, all those old, the old stuff. We could talk about the guys like Hank Williams and all that, right? But like Loretta Lynn and Patsy Cline, and I mean, it's fucking great shit, man. I love that old school country stuff. I absolutely love it.
I've been getting a little more into John Prine too lately.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
dude, my God, so sad in like the best way, not in like a, go eat Frosted Flakes kind of way. It's just very like freaking hits you to your core, man. Like, and it's just words, it's word choices. More than anything.
It's weird how that works too. Like I almost like sometimes it's that aspect, but sometimes I think two people could sing the same song and one person can just move you with it and the other person, you know what I mean? There's just a characteristic that some people really have. It's like, I used to make fun of like, as a younger metal kid or whatever, and like Johnny Cash, and everything is just, which is kind of funny to be it's all kind of this mono, but it's so good. It's just so good, man. Like Johnny Cash is just the shit, There's
a newer country guy like, Jason Isbell.
I mean,
he's not new, but he's been around for like 20 years. But I think he's not John Prine.
Not
but
bad.
He's God, he's so good. And a great guitar player.
Have you seen him live
or just in like kind of clips? It's one of those things where I know he comes through Austin a lot, and I just haven't taken advantage of that. And I always think like, I'm going to see him next time. And then,
that's how Dwight Yoakam is for me. I love Dwight Yoakam, and he's been here like 5,000 times. And every time I've got something going on, I really want to see Dwight Yoakam, man.
It's kind of the crux of being a busy musician. And a lot of times it's like, this great band's coming through town.
Might be the one show. It might be the one
night.
show I go to this year. I feel like he's coming back to Nutty Brown or something. I could be wrong. I honestly have hardly been to any country concerts now. Jesus, I can't even think of any, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people have seen Garth Brooks, and they're all like, it's the best fucking shit. Blew my fucking mind. It was amazing. I'm sure it is. Garth Brooks is like known for just having a stellar show. But geez, I'm really literally thinking, have I even seen a country band? kind of weird.
I was wanting to go check out Sturgill Simpson last year before everything went to shit.
Dude, he's amazing too, man.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Yeah, that sound. I mean, I knew a little bit about him before the Sound and Fury album, but that album's just fantastic.
What is it? Which one is it?
Yeah.
Sound and Fury.
Oh, you said that you're talking about the one after that, though? Or that's the one you're talking about?
That's the most recent one.
That's the most recent, yeah.
Yeah. The one before that was like the one about his kid. God. Sailor's Guide to Earth or something like that.
Yeah.
That was very good. And honestly, there's a lot of weird kind of sounds and like kind of choices going on with the production that I think you might like a lot. You know, being kind of your vibe of like, you know, I'm sure that's something that you really appreciate about Pink Floyd, you know, making like awesomely, you know, kind of strange, you know
who
choices
else I love is
from a production
Beck,
standpoint.
dude. Beck is fucking awesome.
Dude, killer.
Beck.
He's been reinventing himself his whole
good.
career, you know.
Yeah.
Of the few times I've been to ACL Fest, Beck was one of the acts that I did catch, was able to catch.
They have a pretty big. I would think he would have a pretty big band on stage.
Yeah. I mean, it was a great show. I think he was headlining. I don't remember which night. He was headlining one of the nights, so he was like the end act.
I wish I could have seen that. I would love to have seen Beck.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Back to Smashmouth though. We haven't talked about Smashmouth.
That's if I had a choice between Beck and Smashmouth, that'd be a tough call. I just have to flip a coin because they're both so great.
They Smashmouth was in the news last year with that bike rally they played at Sturgis or whatever.
They played at Sturgis?
That's weird.
I'm pretty sure they did.
It does not seem like a.
Yeah.
Weren't they in
They're
a
like
Super
a
Bowl
spring
commercial?
break party band, not a fucking biker rally band.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he was trying to be all rock and roll about like not wearing masks and stuff.
Dildo. Now I hate him even more.
Yeah.
Fucking fat ass.
I know.
I'm fat. I'm probably fatter than that guy, but I feel like you can still kind of say fat ass and not be completely canceled. So I'll go with that.
I haven't seen him in a while, but I only imagine he's gotten bigger and bigger. You know, I can't imagine.
I know this is really terrible. It's really terrible to me, especially since my physique is very non-rock star at the moment. But like, and I've been just sort of owning it, you know. But like, I looked at that guy and I was like, he's just so lame. He just looks so lame. Like he's got his spiky little hair and his sunglasses and he just looks so not.
I'll admit, I can't picture him. I keep thinking of that guy, Fieri guy.
That's not far off.
Not far off. Okay.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Guy Fieri or whatever.
Yeah, it's not far off from that look.
Yeah, oh, that's what you said.
If I think of Smashmouth.
Okay.
Yeah. That's yeah.
Dude, I think someone had done a meme or something of that. Of those two fucking guys, and you're right. It's
welcome to Flavor Town.
But Guy Fieri is way cooler. I mean, not to say that he's super cool, but with what is that? Shut the front door, chicken winner, chicken dinner, and all that dumb shit.
Yeah, that's right.
But I mean, I'd rather hang out with him any day.
It's the tiny soul patch thing, you know. That's I think that's problematic, you know.
In the glasses that are just hanging backwards, right? So he's got the back.
Oh, another great great sort of spring break college kid douche band was Sugar Ray. Remember that fucking band? They had a hit song and it was terrible. I fucking hated that song. I wanna fly. Wasn't that it? It was some shit like that.
Yeah.
With this dorky little guitar line that was like just I don't know.
I think they'd play a great concert together.
Could put together a bill and like you could get all the like.
Yeah.
Nowadays it would be like it'd be like
instead of a Monsters of Rock cruise, just put those bands on the ships and sink it.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's fucking hilarious. Oh hey, we're launching Titanic Part 2, or we're hiring the musical entertainment. Let's see, we're gonna get Smashmouth. Limp Bizkit can be the headliner.
Don't stop playing Smashmouth. That's the rule. You can't stop playing.
Oh my god, that'd be so good.
No matter what happens, Smashmouth.
See, that's the thing. Like,
you just keep playing.
I wouldn't put Dave Matthews Band on that shit. Like, I respect Dave Matthews Band.
Oh, that's nice.
But Smashmouth, Limp Bizkit, you guys are going on that motherfucker. Damn, that's funny. Okay, I love this. I feel like we're finding ourselves here on this podcast. And I wanted to say that about with you coming on this podcast. It was like something I wanted to talk about, and we're doing it in a very weird way, I guess. About, we talked about with you and doing the podcast and the porn star or whatever. And Vic and I like coming up with something, and I feel like this is really good. Like, what 5 bands would you put on the Titanic? You know what I mean? Like, that's a good question. I feel like that's a really good question. Brian, what are your 5 Titanic?
5 is a lot.
Are you
5
kidding
is a
me?
lot to come up with off the top
I'd put
of
like
your head.
100. I'd put.
No, I mean, but to think off the top of my head, like, what are the 5?
Well, we know
top
Sublime
ones,
is one of them.
Well, yeah, for sure. We've already gone
Oasis.
there.
Are you gonna put Oasis on there?
I'm
gonna throw Jason Mraz on there.
Oh, he's like a country. Is he a country rapper guy?
He's that coffee shop ukulele guy kind of vibe.
I know the name. I don't think I know what he does.
Dude, it's one of those things
All
you
Bro
probably
Country
heard
would
it
be on the Titanic.
when you've shopped around. Yeah, when you've shopped around CVS or something, you probably heard Jason Mraz. Playing just it's just
gonna be
too
playing
happy.
when you get your vaccine.
It's like yes, exactly.
You're gonna get so pissed off right when they put the needle in. You're just gonna be like, "Fuck this!" and the needle's gonna break off in your arm.
Got a permanent vaccine or COVID vaccine needle in my arm.
When music just gets to be too happy and it just sounds like somebody's just hitting your brain with a hammer or something.
Yeah.
It's just too happy.
Do
you know what I mean?
An example of that.
It's like 1984 with music, right? Just perfect utopia, totalitarian, just happy music, just nonstop.
Yeah, the 80s had some pretty rad happy music, actually. Like,
yeah, I mean,
80s did pretty good with happy music.
I don't hate happy music in general, but there's a line where it just hits.
It's obnoxious.
And it doesn't feel real anymore. It just feels like you're just trying to shove happiness right down my throat.
Stuff, or that,
and I did not say yes.
They make those jokes about the old country, but if you play a country song backwards, you get your dog back and your truck, and everything was a sad song and all this kind of stuff. But you think about the way country has evolved, especially in the last, even in the 90s and stuff, but now there's none of that stuff. There's no storytelling. There's no sadness. There's no heartbreak. Maybe they got some gay, sappy songs like that, but I think like, there's so much of it is just like down at the river drinking and boots and she wore a mini skirt and all this dumb bullshit. It's like frat boy. Yep. It's like they're trying to be like,
tat pants.
Okay, we're trying to grab the Limp Bizkit fans and the Dave Matthews. It's like they want to get every single douche and then just like put it into one formula, and that's what guys in lab coats in Nashville do.
Yeah, I think those guys in the lab coats need to go on the Titanic.
I agree.
That's one of the bands is going to be the people responsible for writing all those songs that sound exactly the same. And
yes,
sponsored by your favorite auto-tune.
Yeah, auto-tune
provider.
Yeah,
I don't know. Sometimes I use it, so I'll keep one of those auto-tune guys around. Actually, I never did
so
before.
I think we have 3 bands now.
Okay,
I think we have 3 bands that need to go on this.
Yeah, there's almost some things are just exempt because like the entire genre goes on the boat, right? Like so, you can't even bro country and mumble rap. Like it's just that's a no brainer. They're taking up like half the ship, right? So 5 bands that aren't in that genre. Wait, we got Sublime, Oasis, right?
I can't agree with Oasis myself, but you know what? That can be on your Titanic. I think we're in some sort of alternate reality. I'm
just going to put the singer on there because he's a douche. The band can live. That's fine. Smashmouth.
Smashmouth. I'm cool.
I think we all
That's
like.
Right.
This is like.
What did you say, Sugar Ray?
I don't know if I hate Sugar Ray.
I don't know if I can.
That Sugar Ray, even though I think it's crap, it doesn't. And again, maybe the rest of their album is amazing. I don't know. I just know that one song was pretty terrible. But I don't know what it is about Smash Mouth where I'm just like, ooh.
I'm offended. Damn it.
Smash Mouth to me is like, a UFC fighter walking into a room of a feminazi, lesbian or something. It just, I'm immediately offended. It just doesn't, I am, period,
Yeah, I'll tell you something that would have just probably ruined your life that I saw happen once. This really happened. I was at this is pre-pandemic, and there was an HEB situation where Smashmouth just came on, and for whatever reason, the speakers were just blasting. Like it was All Star. It was real loud. And
Get your game on.
There was this guy.
That song is so stupid.
There was this. I shit you not. There was this guy who was definitely like in his 60s who was just dancing around, waving his finger, singing it like in the aisles. And I think you would have punched. I don't know. It seems like you might have punched the guy. I'm not really sure, but I'm getting the vibes that you might have
because
caused this man harm.
Because
okay.
I would have possibly just made the assumption that maybe like he had some sort of mental disorder. You know what I mean? Or like maybe he was. You know what I mean?
Maybe he did. Yeah, maybe he did.
Maybe he just got his new hearing aid and he was happy.
That's true. I mean, maybe he just heard any sound and he was happy to hear it. And I'm just like, in later, like, man, I'm really sorry that Smashmouth was the first sound you heard, dude. That's sad.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting. I have this theory that the first song that you hear in a year kind of determines a little bit about how that year is going to go.
Ooh.
So
that whole thing. I hate those things when it's
with
like,
that in mind.
What's your this is your birthday song. I'm like, no, it's not. God damn it! Like,
well, I have this theory. So I think with that in mind, I'm gonna find you on New Year's Eve. Instead of trying to kiss you, I'm gonna play All Star.
I'd rather make out, dude. I'd so rather just. I'm a heterosexual, and I would make out with a man any day before I would sit through a Smashmouth album.
I'm gonna blast that at you. It's gonna be the worst.
That's pretty funny. If you actually remember that, props to you. That's pretty. I'm gonna have fucking Sublime on standby. Man, I'm gonna be ready to retaliate. My nuclear missiles are gonna be armed as well, sir.
Yeah, is there a way to just play a song at someone where you don't hear it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think here. I guess
I feel like we're on the precipice of
sneak in and
new
get set up on a
technology with this
Bluetooth
now.
thing.
Like you can play a song at somebody.
It's like, it's warfare, really.
It'll be an Ashton Kutcher TV show. You can punk someone with a fucking Oasis song or Smashmouth.
Maybe it'll be like a vaccine side effect. Once you get one,
dude.
maybe that's part of it. You're able to have songs played at you, and you can't stop.
It'll be like a Clockwork Orange. Like whenever you get the vaccine, whatever's playing at that moment just replays in your head forever, and it's gonna be like Sublime, and then you're gonna end up jumping out a window. And that's the thing, right? And it'll be one of those things like, well, you will literally jump out a window and die of suicide, but it'll be labeled a COVID death, because a lot of people say that there's a lot of COVID deaths that aren't really COVID deaths.
Exactly.
That's where I was going.
I think I would blame that more on Sublime.
It's also a lot of Sublime
death.
A lot of
reactions to the
drunk driving accidents with frat boys playing Sublime. They were
allergic
trying to air
reactions to
guitar
the vaccine
Santeria.
include rashes, slight fever, and listening to Sublime.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Or Smashmouth.
You can have 100
while trying to text someone a story of when you had Stevie Ray Vaughan over in your basement and had some drinks. And that's why you got
Stevie Ray Vaughan showed me how to play All-Star in 1987. I don't know why my version of everyone who is that person has that voice, by the way, that I keep doing. I don't like.
I've met that guy for sure that you're thinking of. I've met that person. And it's usually not in Austin. I found it's like the outskirts of Austin.
But here's something interesting, right? Like as someone from New York, I remember going out to LA and I was playing in like the Santa Monica Promenade and playing, a bunch of cover songs and Clapton and Floyd and this and that. And I played Life by the Drop. Nobody knew what the fuck that was there. Here, it's like a huge thing. Granted, Stevie Ray Vaughan didn't write that, but he played it and we all know it. But I don't think he is a national thing, an international thing, but I don't think it's like you go to other places and I don't think Stevie Ray Vaughan is celebrated or known the way he is here in Texas. Am I wrong? Like in New York, was Stevie Ray Vaughan like this huge fucking thing in Binghamton?
Binghamton, yeah. I grew up. Yeah, dude. I can't just let you pronounce it like that. Skunk, come on.
I've done worse. I've done worse.
Man. I can't let you do that to my hometown. Good Lord.
Binghamton.
Binghamton,
okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have Ryan Fox from Binghamton, New Jersey on the show today.
Bingletown. I don't even remember the question, but
on this podcast.
that's you're just killing me with that. No, I definitely grew up with with so I remember one of the CDs in rotation was the Stevie Ray Vaughan and the Double Trouble, like greatest hits, and it was just like I think it was a 2-disc thing, and I remember just hearing that all the time in that minivan. It was in the rotation for sure. So I don't know, maybe it was just my upbringing, but I don't know.
I'm just kind of curious because I feel like something, like it's just hard to know. Some things are very much celebrated in their immediate region. Now, I'm not saying like Steve Ray Vaughan is obviously huge, but I just didn't know if it was because as a Texan, like you're, it's Steve Ray. I mean, we experience it all the time. I mean, I think it's just like, and you can't be too mean and shit on young players. They don't know any better, I mean, they don't know. They haven't heard all the stuff we've heard and experienced this and that. So they go, oh, Steve Ray Vaughan, because that's what you hear. Or Metallica, but those are what we hear. That's cool. That's great. We all learn and love the same stuff. I still love all that. But
I offended a lady one time, just stating my opinion.
Oh, I thought it's because you were brown and she was a Karen.
No, she was brown too, but she might have been a brown Karen, which is a Yolanda. So,
I've never heard that.
No, it was Stevie Ray Vaughan. Like I was wearing a Fender T-shirt at work one time, right? We had like this day where vendors came in or something, right? And we have all these vendors come in. This lady sees my T-shirt. She goes, "Oh, you've got a Fender T-shirt." And I'm like, "Yeah, I got some buddies that play these." It's just a T-shirt to me, right? Because I don't play, obviously. And she just started telling me how much she absolutely loves Stevie Ray Vaughan, and he was the absolute best ever, best in the world ever. Period. Don't you think the same thing? And I'm like, I really like Riviera Paradise. I like named off a few songs. And then she says, "Oh, he's the best." And I'm like, he's good. He's very good. He's talented. I kind of like Gilmour. I'm kind of like a David Gilmour type of dude, right?
Wow.
And she did not like that answer.
Yeah, I bet she's a straight. What do you call it? A straight ticket party vote. How do you say that? When someone just, you know what I'm saying, right? Like,
oh yeah,
she don't give a fuck who's running. She's just, that's the party. The other one's wrong. Period.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, that reminds me of a story that's not exactly Stevie Ray Vaughan related, but kind of the same vibe. It's more Jesus related, actually.
They're the same thing, bro.
But same thing. No, so yeah, it was like one of the first tours we ever went on, Fair City Fire, and we just got past the Indiana border. We stopped at Dairy Queen.
Wow.
To just go to the bathroom and then hit the road again, basically. And I'm waiting in line at this Dairy Queen, and there are these two gentlemen just kind of just they've been there all day. You get that vibe. They've just been sitting kind of at the table nearest the bathroom all day, just chatting about God knows what. And I'm waiting. There's like two people ahead of me, and the guy turns to me and he's like, "Excuse me," and I'm like, "Yeah," and he's like, "What's your relationship like with Jesus Christ?"
God. Wow.
Well, how do you answer that? I'm like, "Listen, I'm just trying to wait for the bathroom here."
Look,
I'm not talking to you about this
Jesus
right now.
Have to go to the bathroom, dude. No, you can be a total atheist until you have to take a shit in traffic, and then you are praying to God that you don't shit your fucking pants.
Yep.
That is a fact.
Yeah, it's a foxhole conversion, baby. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there was no invitation for that question. It was just kind of like
Well, see, here's the thing, dude.
I guess you guys.
I've actually been in that exact situation in a Whataburger in Houston at 2-3 in the morning, whatever. After shit at a Whataburger. So I even was going to write a song about. I actually did write a song about it. It's just kind of sitting around on my cell phone idea, and we were all joking about it and everything. So Good Roging plays a gig, and see, I blew it. I don't know what you did, but you can't engage. You just have to be absolutely whatever pamphlet you have. I'll take it. I believe in Jesus too. Yay, Jesus, and then get out of there. But I, like an idiot, and so the band, I think Sammy was engaging with the guy because Sammy's just that kind of person probably. Rom was insanely uncomfortable, which was hilarious. And everyone was like, "Can we go?" This guy, really nice guy, this security guard, his name was Marcus. He's standing out there. He's bored. He wants to talk to people. He wants to, and introduce everybody to Christ and make sure they're all cozy with Christ, on their way out of Whataburger at 3 a.m. And so he's like,
maybe he knows something that nobody else knows.
That's the conclusion we came to. And so I really, anyway, we walk out and they're already kind of talking. Who knows? I can't remember all the details, but he keeps wanting to show us scripture on his phone. And so what kept happening was, something to be like, well, one more before you go, one more before you go. And they would read something else. And like an idiot, I couldn't just be like, awesome. Yeah, I totally believe that too. Later, I was just like, yeah, but I mean, and I was trying to do you can't have gray area conversations with those people because that's they will not accept that there is anything but Christ, right? I'm not even saying that makes them a bad person or anything. I think it's just there's a lot of people. Now, some people are bad people because of that. Wars and all kinds of horrible things happen because of that with all types of religions, right? That's when religion gets extremely dangerous. This guy was fine. He was harmless. But you can't engage with those people and try to have a conversation, what I'm trying to say here, where you're bringing up any other ideas, right? And keeping it open and discussing other possibilities. No. This is the way it is. And so I made the mistake of doing that. And so then we ended up standing around the parking lot for 25 minutes with this guy reading this Bible scripture because, it was ridiculous. But anyway, it was funny. And we talked about it later. I've talked about this on the podcast too. Actually, when you confirm this, Brian, on tour, bands, maybe it's just people I've toured with, but I've heard it seems like a lot of bands are like this. You're in the car together, you're bored. It's kind of like with your best friends, and you'll just say the worst, heinous, most dirty, awful things ever, right? And just all the things that everyone wants to act, all the crusaders for this absurd utopia. Not to say I want people to be monster, racist assholes or any of that kind of crap. You should be a good fucking person, but we're human beings. We have this there's a perverseness about us and almost even a need. And I think comedians are the one medium that can release that need somehow, which is so great. But where you joke about these things, you say these things, you don't mean it, right? But you say terrible things. You make terrible jokes about topics you should never make jokes about. It's called being a human being. Anthony Jeselnik does it better than anybody, right? And so, he does. So, and we're on tour and we're just saying these I gotta tell you this. We're just saying these horrible things. Actually, just remind me to tell you about the old guy smoking a pipe. It's the worst shit ever. But and so I think you say all these kind of things, but no one would ever hear that. Now I lost. I was gonna ask you, when you're on tour, are you guys like that? Are you just animals and?
Oh yeah, it's like day one. I think you're energetic and you're just okay, we're ready to go, and then. Just a few days in, things start to get delirious a little bit because you just haven't slept that great, and you're on the road all the time and all that stuff. Even we were never party animals or anything, but just sleeping conditions were never that great. It's kind of somebody's on the couch, somebody's on the floor somewhere, or, we're crashing at friends' places, whatever, kind of making it all work. But, it's but somewhere at the point in the tour, I feel it always.
I think you're right. Sleep deprivation.
And it was just
so true.
It's just there was no censorship for anybody trying to be a good person in the van anymore.
Totally. Yeah, but that's what's funny is people because these people and they're good people. They're good people. Yeah, and then these good people are saying the most horrible things you could ever imagine, and it's just. Hilarious. Yeah, and it's hilarious. Too. Yeah. And I remember we were I should not even tell this story, but fortunately
I was gonna say I have to separate myself when I get to that point because I highly offend people. Yeah. Just dark humor, dark jokes.
Well, look, but honestly, here's the thing. We could do this podcast and walk on fucking eggshells. I realize I said the word gay and I called Victor Brown and I made a joke about a lesbian. Oh, God, help us. I'm an animal, burn him at the stake. Dude, we're fucking around. We're joking, right? There are certain lines you don't cross. We're not, and we're not going to do that. But I think we're just having a good time, right? So I don't feel like I've crossed any lines. Some people would probably be more than happy to point out that I do or did. but I'm not famous, so I can get away with it. Ha ha ha. So anyway, no one's gonna cancel me yet or try to. So
it's okay to say Sublime sucks. It's
like
okay.
that, dude.
You could say that.
Here's the thing. Actually, perfect example. Are we really going to go out and try to round up a bunch of people and lobby to put Smashmouth on a cruise ship and sink it? Yes, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
So the point is we're good people other than that. No, but like right. As if that wasn't bad enough. That perfect example, not knowing when to shut up. Like I shouldn't even tell this story, but it's funny because it's just so dumb. Like it's like that point in the tour, dude, it was the very end of the tour. And we had these long drives. Like I'm saying, we drove all the way from Alabama to New York. It was ridiculous. We're coming through to Maryland and the Carolinas. And on the last little bit of the tour, I kept desperately trying to get something at the end in Memphis, or so I couldn't get anything in Nashville or Memphis. We drove all the way back, I think, from Johnson City to fucking Texas. I don't even know if we had another gig. It was ridiculous. So we're just driving across half the fucking country. We're somewhere near Nashville or something in Tennessee. And like a traffic jam, it's the end of the tour. We haven't slept. You're at that point, total delirium, and we're in this traffic jam. And we look over. I can't remember the details anymore, but there's like this old man like smoking a pipe or vaping, right? And so we just start I don't know why we just start railing on this guy and the way he's vaping, the way he's holding his pipe, or how he's whatever he was doing, and it just turned into this horrific. Heinous. Like we're gonna we are gonna take just a little break here and interrupt Skunk before he gets himself canceled. We want to just remind you to go follow us on YouTube, subscribe to our channel, follow us on Spotify and Facebook, Instagram, and all that good stuff.
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding. That didn't happen. We're gonna. All right. Yeah. I knew it. I finally went too far. Okay. This is why we don't. This is why we don't go live. Anyway, no, but it was just stupid. Like, were we really going to do that? No, you know what I mean? But
no, of course not.
I was thinking you were going to say you were making up dialogue for him.
No, we just decided we were going to in the middle of a traffic jam for vaping. You know what it was? He was probably listening to Smashmouth. That's what it was.
That's probably it. Yeah, I have actually a traffic jam story too from the tour.
Please share.
Yeah, this was, I think, the second tour we went on, and it's just like traffic was just suddenly really bad, and we were kind of in a hurry to get to the venue, so it was a little bit stressful, but this traffic jam just sort of came out of nowhere, and basically what was happening is like, it was kind of a 3-lane highway, and then people were kind of going off like on the grass to kind of drive by everybody, right? Being grass holes is what we called them. Yeah, so... So what would happen is, because that was just making it worse because they're going by and then we can't, because we couldn't really do that with our van and we, whatever. They're causing it to slow down more. But so what we ended up doing is like driving over a little bit, so they had to go further out into the grass. And so we're like kind of off in the shoulder, and they're driving by real slow because they're in the grass, like trying to get by us. Because they're going slow. Brett would open the sliding door and his whole ass was just hanging out. We called it highway justice.
Awesome,
That was the best. So yeah, you can go by, but you're going to see Brett's ass and you're going to look at it because a door is opening right next to you. Like you can't not look over, Yeah, it was glorious. And we did it like he did it like 10 to 15 times. It was awesome.
Just
it was so fun.
Everyone that goes by.
Everybody. And they deserved it. And I think, if you're the driver, you have to just be like, okay, I deserve that one.
Yeah, for real. Maybe that's the price. That's the toll. You had to pay that toll. Yeah, sure. You got where you're going a little faster and slowed everybody else down, but you've got a mental picture of that ass for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That is a great idea.
They're off somewhere telling that story too, I think, on the podcast.
That's
highway stories.
It's a better story than mine. We're not going to have to edit that. Vic, was it when we actually started the podcast or before we started the podcast when you were talking about the advertisement, when you pop in during one of my rants and say, at this moment in the podcast, we're gonna implement that. This is going to be the first podcast we're going to have to do that because We're gonna have to cut that part. I finally went too far. Brian's reaction when he was like, "You lost me," I'm like, "Oh man, I shouldn't have said it." Not to mention members of my band, former members of my band are like, "Oh god damn it, dude, fuck." No, I wasn't in a good Rod ring back then. No, that wasn't me on that tour.
Yeah, yeah, don't give away our secrets, man.
That never happened. We never talked about that. Skunk was delirious.
So yeah, another story from a more recent tour. I think it was a couple of years ago. But anyways, so we were playing in Nashville, and it was around my birthday, and my aunt, who lives near Nashville, brought this cake and like set it up by our merch table and was just handing out cake to people at the venue, which was really funny. Just my aunt just kind of just doing it all at that moment, like, and so anyways, we had some leftover cake. There was a little container that the tour was about 3 weeks long, and it just sat. This is summertime. It just sat in the van for the whole time. And like towards the end of the tour, it just became a spectacle where Clint would just eat this cake.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yes. Van cake. And it was like,
were there repercussions?
Yeah, I think it's delirium. Where just something in your brain at some point tells you this is a good idea.
If he had eaten that cake a little bit before that traffic jam, that could have really added some interest to that mooning there. I feel like
so.
That's not going to sit in your system well, Oh yeah, you did a little freeze.
Yeah, it froze for a second. I think you guys are back, but yeah. I mean, are you thinking the cake is sort of like hanging, like maybe smushed on his butt?
I'm thinking about like diarrhea time,
like giving out some door prizes to this bathroom.
Ooh, God! Now that's real highway justice. That's highway justice times 20 right there.
Yeah, that's pretty heavy duty. Highway justice. Look at me making those Full House jokes. I love when Bob Saget goes and does stand up because he wants to be like so opposite than Full House. So he immediately comes out and he's like, "Hey, motherfuckers, I fucking did cocaine. Fuck, shit, fuck." You ever seen Bob Saget do stand up? It's so weird. You're like, I don't know how to feel about this.
It totally is. It's almost like he's trying too hard.
Exactly.
I can't do it.
His line in what was that movie with Dave Chappelle and Jim Breuer? Half Baked. That was pretty great though. He was like, "Have you ever sucked cock for marijuana?" I've sucked cock for coke. Bob Saget saying that line was perfect.
It was one of the Wayans brothers. I seen it. Dave Chappelle's up there. He's like, "Nope,
I have a problem with marijuana." He's like, "Marijuana? You ever suck cock for marijuana?"
This is marijuana. This is some bullshit. That's a great movie.
I haven't seen that in years. You seen that one, Brian? You know that movie, Half Baked?
It's been a while. I think I have seen it. Jim Brewer's in it.
Jim Brewer.
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle.
Yeah. Oh, Steve Wright's in it. Like he's the dude on the couch, right? Stephen Wright.
The dude on the couch. That's right.
Been a long time. I don't really remember it.
Too. Anyway, so let's wrap up with some. I mean, we kind of talked about your tours.
Yeah.
What's the coolest part? What are some of your favorite venues? What's your favorite venue or some of your favorite venues in Austin? What are some of the best places you've played on tour, venue-wise, city-wise? What are some of your favorite places?
God, I think my favorite. This is gonna surprise you because it surprised me, and it's probably because we had such little expectations for it. But on the road, there was this like venue, just like kind of little shithole venue we played in Wichita, Kansas, that we just kind of, it was like a thing where we're just like that. It seemed like a good spot to stop on a route. It made sense, like drive time wise and all that stuff. So we're like, let's just try to see what happens. And that night was so much fun. And I think it's because we like didn't have any expectations about it. But it was like this shitty venue that like sounded just okay. But man, it was like a Tuesday night and people were there for it. Like it was it was awesome. Like it was, I don't know. It might have been because the expectations were so low or whatever, but really, I always loved playing in my hometown. We'd always try to get up to Binghamton every time, and that was always fun. So like wherever we were playing for that, it was just kind of like get in front of the old crowd that used to see me play around there all the time, and now they're seeing my Austin band come back and do some stuff. That was always cool. But I think my favorite venue in Austin we ever played was Antone's. That was killer.
Yeah.
That we did a festival kind of thing called the Too Damn Hot Affair. We did that 3 times, and that was a lot of fun. And the last 2 times were at Antone's, and it was just I don't know, man, just the gold standard. It sounded great. It looked great. It's one of those things where you don't have to explain to anybody what Antone's is.
Yeah. By the way, man, you guys are a great live band. Whenever you played Skunkfest, you guys were kind of a midday type band, and it wasn't like a packed house, but there were people there, and all. I booked the band, so of course I like them all, and I think they're all great. But there was a lot of feedback of people that were just like, "Who was that band? Who was the one?" Like a lot of people when you guys played, a lot of people were just like, "Fuck, this band kicks ass, man! Y'all just owned it." So.
Yeah. I was worried that day too because my amp took a shit that morning.
I
do
remember that
situation.
That's right. I totally forgot.
And you let me use yours, which was really nice.
And I was borrowing that thing too. That little it was a Fender Reverb or a Fender. Who cares? Whatever. It was a Fender.
Yeah, it was. It did the job. It was just kind of like a last minute little like, oh my god.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
day of the show. Yeah. Like, what am I gonna do? But. Worked out great. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. Favorite. Well, okay. We'll come back to the Titanic. We're gonna close with on a high note. What are your? This is an annoying question. I hate when people are like, "What's your favorite guitar player?" I can't pick that favorite guitar player. Or what's your favorite band? What are maybe 5 of your biggest influences, either bands or guitarists, or just like some of your absolute pinnacle influences from a musical standpoint?
That's a huge question. It's I will say my first guitar idol was Mike McCready from Pearl Jam. He was always
and Mad Season.
Yeah, and Mad Season, and it's just one of those things that I feel like, and I've thought about this a lot, like why did this guy, influence me so much, or kind of hit me in this way, and I don't even know if necessarily you'd hear it in my playing necessarily, but it's when you watch him play, it's like he's influenced by all the greatest guitar players that ever lived. Like he's like, to me, this like crossroads of all these like amazing players like Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan and just everybody before him kind of influenced his sound, and he
actually hung out with Stevie Ray Vaughan once. Did you know that?
Whose base was it? Your basement?
It's my basement.
Where that happened?
Yeah, I was serving them.
Yeah, so he's definitely a big one for me. But songwriting, I gotta go Springsteen. Big Springsteen guy.
You're
myself.
a New Yorker.
Yeah.
You have to say that.
New
you like
Yorker.
Springsteen and Billy Joel. It's in your blood. You can't help it.
I do like Billy Joel too. It's not the same. But Bon Jovi, not so much.
He's a dirty Jersey boy,
Well, so is Springsteen.
Is
but
he? Okay. I just know they love him up there.
Springsteen's a Jersey guy.
He is a Jersey guy.
Yeah,
Duh.
but
okay.
Yeah, but yeah. So I think there. It's Springsteen for sure. It's like writing about stuff that's like really heavy, but still like kind of sounds good and like feels good. I think that's like something that
happy 80s music, right? Springsteen actually pulled that off really well.
He pulled that off really well, but then you start digging into like
some
Darkness on the Edge of Town, and it's just like that stuff especially if you listen to like really hear the lyrics, it's like, oh my God, I think
that's it. It's real, right? It's real and it's relatable, and it really touches a nerve.
And I think that's always been the most important thing for me, whether I like bands or not, or whether I like my own songs or not, is like, does it feel real? Does it feel genuine? does it feel like it's coming? And that's the thing about Springsteen is like you can't get anybody more real than that.
That's really cool. I actually like that you're saying that, and a great fucking band. I used to kind of make fun of Springsteen the way I made fun of Johnny Cash, but I actually feel like there's a lot of similarity there in terms of like there's the content. It's not so much about, you don't look at Springsteen and go, what a great magical voice, but it's not about that. And it almost might not work if it was, it's the gruff that makes it, that it fits the mold perfectly for what it is. Right. And it's the working man sort of the blue collar thing.
It
right?
is.
It works.
And it's the feeling of listening to one of his songs and like, almost being able to relate it to so many different times in your life, and I think that's something that I always kind of wanted to aspire to, is writing songs like that. And that's where I'm trying to go with kind of stuff, like not necessarily trying to sound like Springsteen or something, but, trying to get that vibe where these songs really mean something and they can mean something to someone else, like in a really deep way, and I think that's something that, Springsteen's done for me so many times that I want to pass that along in some way,
And to come back to Billy Madison, Adam Sandler's Bruce Springsteen is so great. It's so good.
I mean, dude, I'm obviously a Springsteen nut, but I'm not. I enjoy making fun of him.
Oh, it's great.
And,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even like my idols, it's hilarious when they get parodied. Great,
Yeah.
I used to love when David Spade used to do Tom Petty with the fucking top hat and shit and the hair.
Dude. My Tom Petty impression sounds a lot like Bob Dylan.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
someone told me once Bob Dylan is Bob Dylan, and so is Tom Petty. I love Tom Petty. I would put Tom Petty probably in my top 5. Absolute massive Tom Petty fan. Tom Petty is like the greatest. Everything about him, just this songwriting is magical and wonderful. Paul Simon, I'm a huge Paul Simon fan. But this, I ask you, what are yours? Mike McCready.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here with you.
I feel like we have a lot of the same.
Like,
taste.
From a guitar, yeah, for sure. I think we're kind of similar for sure in a lot of ways. A more modern songwriter, man, Jason Isbell. I got to go back to him, man. I've been just, Spotify plays or whatever. It shows you how many times you've listened to whoever at the end of a year, and like he just crushed it last year for me. Like nobody was even close. So I think. It's one of those things I've been taking in his music a lot, and it's kind of the same deal where it just means a lot, and it's deep, and it's also another thing that I like about his stuff, and not all of it, but a lot of it. It's like sad and like it's telling these stories, but it's not so specific that you can't find a way to relate to it. You know what I mean? Like it's left a little bit open-ended intentionally, and that's kind of something I think I wanted to take away from that too. But man, if you haven't listened to him much, like obviously I think you'll like his guitar playing, but I think also just how he just breaks your heart listening to his lyrics in like the best way.
I imagine you probably,
I don't know.
Probably dig Chris Stapleton, I would guess, right? And
I like him. He doesn't do the same thing for me, but I do like him.
Have you ever heard of a group called White Buffalo? Check them out, man. Someone turned me onto them, and they're pretty cool. Kind of in that genre-ish.
Cool. Yeah, it's good. Whatever's going on with that genre, I do.
Yeah. What would you?
In the country.
It's not. Realm, yeah, but that's not. It's so weird. Like, and it's just like rock, right? Rock's a broad term. Metal's a broad term. There's all these a zillion subgenres. I don't feel like country. I don't know, but I don't feel like country gets treated that way, right? I mean, everyone kind of goes, "That's the shit, bro, country," and then there's the country, but. Seems like more of a broad term, like it doesn't seem so classified. And there, I guess maybe the Americana, that then there's the cowboy country, the outlaw country, the old school, and all that. But like, what would you define stylistically something like that?
I guess more Americana, right? But I don't even quite know what that means, to be honest with you. Like, it's just like,
it's kind of
does that mean American?
Yeah, it's kind of like that with country.
I don't know.
Not singer songwriter, but kind of little it. It's kind of a.
Yeah.
Mixed bag.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think I've just tried to get a little bit more into like songwriters in general, like just kind of like what is going on with the song. And I think something that I heard Jason Isbell say in an interview, which is one of my favorite things is listen to musicians on interviews. So I love being interviewed too. This is great. But, I think one thing that I heard him say is like he likes to take situations that everybody knows about, but offer like a different perspective on it. you know, like, you know what it is to like be in love with someone or get your heart broken, but what's inside of that no one has really said before? How can you find that thing? And that's kind of where I'm trying to go. I don't want to write the same thing that's been out so many times. And I think it's an interesting kind of perspective. And I think he walks the walk in that way, lyrically. But man, I've been so much more into lyrics, I think, than ever over the last few years.
You know, hearing you say that is interesting because I know some guitar players and some, musicians sometimes that aren't that bothered about lyrics. So like, I don't write lyrics, and they like a good melody or a good catchy song, but they're focused on the music and the riffs and the soul, and they're not that. I feel like that's been something that's always been important to me. Like, and that lyrics don't necessarily have to have a huge emotional impact or be super deep and Roger Waters-esque or anything, but I gravitate towards that. I gravitate towards, I don't know. Sometimes it can be, it doesn't even have to mean anything. You can make it mean. I like lyrics that you can make them mean something. They can be quirky. They can be funny. Clutches, Neil Fallon's Clutch, I think, does a great job of having this interesting, quirky, funny lyrics, but then also really clever, really, just intelligent lyrics. He walks a really good line there. And so there's a lot of bands where I think for me, like, lyrics are huge, man. Whether it's a storytelling song, a real simple, heartfelt story, or something really abstract and just lyrically, poetic. But it's so
I love being in the car and driving around and like catching one line in a song, and I'm like, oh my God, wow. Yeah. How did somebody think of that? I love that moment.
Dude, I'm in a fucking songwriting group. I've been doing that for a few years. It's just this for a couple months at the beginning of each year. And it's about, typically about 40 different artists in Austin. And it just blows my mind. I mean, and, so many people nowadays, you have the capabilities to do self-recording. And some stuff are, cell phone recordings. There's no real, rules. That's what's great, right? It's just like, hey, we're just going to try to hold ourselves to this and write a song every couple of weeks, da-da-da. And so it could be a cell phone, it could be a full-blown production, but I am just like floored at how I hear all these different songs and all these different styles from all these different people. And I was just listening to some of this stuff today, and it's like that very thing where I'm just like, the music alone is amazing, and all the, listen to all these great, cool ideas and chord changes and all these things, neat ideas and instrumentation, blah, blah, blah. But just lyrical stuff I'll hear, and I'm like, wow, that's just so fucking good, like. And it's really inspiring and fun to hear that and to just grab onto those moments,
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's what stops me in my tracks these days. If I hear a song, it's like, it's a great line in a song versus like, man, I've heard at this point, I've lived in Austin I've heard a million great guitar players at this. I feel like, and I've seen them. And I know what it is to like hear
who the best one is.
Great solo.
You know who the best guitar player is though? It's only one.
Skunk?
No, Vic, tell him.
Is it
tell
Skunk?
Him, Vic.
Oh, yeah, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Stevie Ray Vaughan. Oh, I thought it was going to be Skunk. I thought you were going to go there.
No, I was going back. I was going back to Vic. Stevie Ray Vaughan, man. No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Man. I still love it, and I still like. But honestly, like, I am bored if I go watch a band and it's just a bunch of guitar solos, like those blues jams. I can't boring, dude. I don't want to do that. I don't care that you can play solos on it. It bores me. If you have a song and you say something that impacts me, now you got me,
Yeah, and there's like a melody, like there's a certain kind of melody where it hits and like it makes the back of your head tingle a little bit, and it's like, that's the magic to me now. Yes. It's like, yeah, man, I don't care about how fast you can move your fingers. Like, I just anymore, it does, like, it's obviously it takes a lot of work to get there, and to be able to do that, but it just doesn't affect me anymore, I don't think. And it really never did that much, but like, at this point, I've seen it so many times. People just shredding.
There's got to be a song, and there's got to be a melody or something. Who was it that said something? I think it was Carter, Vic. I thought it was really interesting. He was like, when I listen, and he's one of those guys that's playing all the time with so many people. I mean, that's his always. I don't know a guy that plays more and works harder, but to go, when he was like, so I don't know if, like, maybe he's listening to a lot of music, because how much time do you have, when you're always working as a musician? But he's like, if something doesn't hit me, if I don't have a immediate visceral reaction, I'm sort of like not interested. It's like you got to have that emotional jolt that makes you go, oh wow, not just like some sort of flamboyance that you're like, oh, okay, I mean that's cool, but I'm not 16, it doesn't get my rocks off.
It doesn't, and it's also like not a mystery anymore. It's not like I always see a guitar player and be like, I can do that, but it's also like I now know how I could do that if I practiced a lot. It's like no longer that moment of like, oh my God, that's magic. How does someone do that? It's like I probably know 10 people that could do that.
It's like porn
in my life.
It's like porn. It's like porn.
What's that?
The first time you see,
please elaborate.
Yeah, the first time you see, something, use your imagination. Different strokes for different folks, literally. But it's like you're just like, wow. The first time you see a dirty magazine back in our day, or nowadays it's like a baseball bat, right off the bat on the internet. Like, they don't ease anything in anymore. It's all right out there for you. But I feel like it's like, whoa. And then if you see something over and over, it's not that you're like, well, okay, those are two people fucking, right? I mean, it's not going to have the same impact. So you got to get real creative to get me interested now. I think it's something, I got to see an emotional connection between the two porn stars.
Great acting, good dialogue.
Yeah, give me a production, man.
Good
give me
lighting.
A production. I want the Burt Reynolds.
Perfect angles. At least 3 cameras.
Exactly. No, but I think it's like, I'll always find a way to make a porn analogy, but I think it's something about whenever you see something for the first time, it's awesome and impressive, and or it evokes a reaction, right? But over time, it's not, that same thing is not necessarily. Now, does that mean you're still not going to, of course, you're still going to watch porn, probably, right? You're still going to like, wow, that was a great guitar solo, but it's not impacting you with the same, so I think that's what's natural about being a human being, I would think. I would hope. I think it's the point of being a human being and being an intelligent species, apparently, supposedly, and as a musician is to evolve. That's why I always make the joke about the Slayer fan and stuff that 45-year-old, 50-year-old Slayer guy that's like Slayer or nothing. It's like, wow, really? Like I'm like these days. I'm like, yeah, dude, I love Slayer. I love all this old metal shit. I also love jazz. I love classical. I love country. I like all kinds of fucking shit, man. I'm always like listening to new music. Spotify, it's amazing to just go like listen and explore all this new music and hear all these different things. I love it, So it's weird to me to be in a box, and I think that's what we're both kind of saying is it's like there's something's got to catch you that really it can be anything, but it's something has got to. It can't just be like here's the stock thing, because no, I've already heard that 1,000 times. It's cool, but I'm not necessarily going to respond to that without something that really makes me stop for a second,
Anymore, it's a feeling that I'm looking for, rather than being impressed by something, So I think that's kind of it. It's really interesting.
Like you need the equivalent to the South Park shake weight with the cooling mist and change for so cab good. Ride home.
Yes.
They're so good.
That's exactly what I'm getting
cab
at.
fare.
So good.
Going to sleep. Now.
Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like those are definitely the big influences for me. I mean, there's a million others.
Let's get back to the Titanic then. What were your 5 bands again?
Yeah.
This has got to be a new thing, Vic. I like this.
Sublime, Jason Mraz, the guys who write pop country songs.
All that
right now.
All that.
Yeah.
Whatever that building in Nashville is.
Yeah.
just put the somehow floaters.
Haul it to the coast.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be fine. Just get them all on there. Make sure they're all on there, and make sure Smashmouth doesn't stop playing.
They're going to be such heroes, such brave heroes. They were all stars, man.
Okay. I'm going to throw one at you, but only because. Okay. All right. Hear me out. Okay. I have a story about this band, and I think you're gonna be with me after I say the story. Okay, right? So this band, and I'll start by saying at Binghamton, there's a festival every year called Speedy Fest, where there's just like this washed up rock band that plays that you've heard of, but they're past their prime. They don't sound so good anymore. This year that I'm thinking of, Bad Company was the band, and honestly, solid band.
I would not have expected them to be on
I
the
think
Titanic.
Paul Rogers was excellent. I think that was his name, right? So this band was the new guy, whoever that was. I don't remember his name, but they called themselves Bad Company. He was the new guy, but then he was surrounded by 22-year-olds. So somehow he got rights, his spray tan having ass, got the rights, and just this gross looking human that just spoke the
confused.
worst things.
Was Paul Rogers still doing this, or was he replaced by this young guy?
He was replaced by this other guy.
By spray tan. Okay.
Yeah, by spray tan guy who somehow took over the band and had 20-year-olds around him. But okay, it gets worse. Okay, so anyways, they're playing the show, and it's I feel like I'm watching a Bad Company cover band. And I like their music, so I was kind of excited for the show, and but this variation of the band is going on the Titanic because this is gonna piss you off. So it had rained that day, right? And it stopped just in time for the show. And the guy gets on the mic, this just douchey guy that I already hate because he's kind of ruining this good music for me. He gets on the mic and he goes, it rained earlier today, and when it rains, that makes me feel like making love. God. And they started playing that song.
That's bad.
So this guy and everyone who knows him needs to go on the Titanic.
Fair enough. When that's one of those things you definitely have to explain. When you say Bad Company, you're like, whoa.
I'm in for that band. I love that band.
The Bad Company cover band that likes to make love in the rain. Gotta go.
Somehow they got the rights to the name horrible. And just shat all over it.
That's
that band.
To hear that. Wow.
Needs to go. Yeah, that happened. That was probably 2008 or something like that, in that range. So, that's the kind of act they would book at this
totally
festival.
Justified. Put them on the Titanic.
Yeah, only that variation of the band. Old school, we're good.
They can be the understudies for Smashmouth. They gotta go down with them just in case, one of them have to step in.
So I need a fifth one. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of any other bands that have committed such a high crime in my life. Because
I could easily think of 5. Sure, that's not a surprise to anybody that's been listening to me.
I mean, there's just a few that really come right off the bat. You might have to come back to me on this one. I don't know.
Let's go to Vic.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I have to think about it.
I'm disappointed in you guys.
Well, we are at 3 hours,
no, we are.
So I'm a little brain fried.
We are at 3 hours. I really just want to murder people by drowning in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, I guess, just for playing bad songs. I'll blame it on the 3-hour delirium. Well, Brian.
And the van cake.
The van cake will do it to you.
This has been fun. Do you have anything to add?
It's been a good time.
Where can people find you?
Oh, yeah. Just Brian Wolff music on pretty much everything. That's where I'm putting music stuff, all the platforms. And then I've got a podcast now called Greetings from Wherever that dives into kind of the creative process of different types of artists. So painters, authors, comedians, a little bit of everybody talk about how they make their craft, how they get inspired. And that's kind of the whole show. We don't talk about porn stars necessarily, but maybe it'll come up. Maybe we'll talk about making a porn film. What goes into that?
Sir. Keep your integrity. Don't be me. Don't do on your podcast what happened here tonight.
I just want to be inspired by you. That's all.
Level.
And I want to play you Smashmouth first thing New Year's Eve.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm gonna have my fucking Sublime queued up. I'm even gonna go find Spray Tan Boy and get his version of Bad Company to fire back.
Oh no, you're killing me.
Last thing. All right, yeah, Vic's right. It's late as fuck. But I feel like you've got a good shit story. You've been on tour. Yeah.
God. Yeah, I mean, I'll say fucking. Okay, what do you mean by shit story exactly? Because I want to hit this right
like
on the head.
just a disastrous moment, like when nature strikes at the worst time, and it's one of those things that you never want to talk about with anybody. And I'm asking you to say it now here in a place that will forever be listened to by who knows.
Let's fucking talk
listeners.
about it.
We've had some good ones. I don't think you're gonna. Honestly, I don't think you can top. We've got about 4 that are almost untoppable. So I'm curious. I don't want to put that much pressure on you. I want you to still be able to perform. But I mean, yeah, just
what kind of performance are we talking?
Let it out.
All right, I'll say. So first tour, it was like probably year or 2 of being a band. We're like, okay, the whole idea was I had mentioned I had played all these festivals back home before I came to Austin. One of them hit me up and was like, hey, do you want to bring your Austin band up to this festival? And I was kind of brought it up to the band, just like, hey, we're being offered this thing. We can headline. Do you guys want to do this? And there's going to be like a lot of people there, all that stuff. And I expected them to say no because we were just like an Austin band playing at just kind of little venues around town at that point and trying to find our feet, kind of. And none of us had ever been on tour. But we got booked for this thing. We're like, okay, let's book a tour. It just made sense. Let's book different cities all the way up there. And we had fun kind of leading up to it. And then the day of, this whole thing was around this thing. And it rained. It called for rain. But the thing is, it didn't actually rain. But they canceled it because they called for rain. So this whole festival got shut down. That we had booked this whole tour
in
around.
there, yep.
And extreme disappointment. And then I kind of got on the phone with the guy because there was guarantee that we were going to be paid a bit for headlining this show. And we had driven all the way across the country. And pretty much I was like, listen, I know we're not going to be able to play this show because he was like, you can just do it next weekend. I'm like, dude, we're on tour. We're all the way across. We're not anywhere near home. We can't just stay in Binghamton for a week, And the dude just basically told us to go fuck off. And I just, it was, yeah, not my, that's my shit story, I think. And it was just kind of driving all the way back to Texas with our tail between our legs.
Oh man, that's horrible.
Yeah.
I actually meant a little. You don't know me that well, actually. I guess I underestimated. I meant a literal shit story, a bodily function, but. No, but I think we're okay,
dude.
I don't think we have to.
We can cut that out.
We don't have to.
We don't have to get sad.
To sink the ship any further. So we can always have you back. You can take time. You can think about it. You can really try to write some one line. You can make it really lyrical and poetic.
Yeah,
Springsteen.
Yeah. I think that's great.
No, dude, it's funny that you said that, though, in terms of a life shit, because I had the exact same thing when I finally was like, all right, I'm going to, I'm feeling good about the band, put out something, I'm going to just do a DIY tour, fuck it, you know what I mean? And like I said, it was like, okay, we played Louisiana, and then we played Alabama, and then all of a sudden we're driving to New York, and it was a mess. I mean, it was absurd. But the whole reason I tried to string this thing together in 10 dates or whatever we ended up doing was because there was a festival that was going to be happening in North Carolina, and then the whole fucking festival fell through and and so I had already booked this stuff, and I'm like, but same exact thing, right? We basically went on this entire tour. I don't regret it. I'm glad I did it. It was fun. It was an experience. But it was just like, wow, I never would have done that. I thought I was going to come play a fucking festival. You know what I mean? So yeah, that sucks, man.
It wasn't all bad, I guess. It inspired us to do future tours and stuff because we realized we could do it. It was
something's got to light the fire and make you do it. So I mean, in that sense, yeah, it wasn't bad. But man, it really goes to show when you're doing a DIY thing like that, the rug can be pulled out, right? It's really hard. It's hard. It's hard to book a tour and really make it make sense and have dates that are with a reasonable driving range and get the hotels and do it's very, very, and so I understand, like, when you're sleeping on a floor full of fucking cat piss and you don't shower for 5 days, and then you wonder why you're fucking sitting in a traffic jam talking about stabbing a guy for smoking a vape. I mean, you're delirious. You've had a fucked up ass, 2 weeks.
Stabbing a guy, and what else? What else?
Nothing. That part, dude. This is literally when this podcast airs. fucking Vic's gonna be coming out in a general suit. Vic, you better go to Salvation Army, man, because we're gonna cut that shit. We'll put. This is gonna be our first official podcast that has some sort of ad in the middle of the podcast. Oh, dude, this has been a blast. I know it ran long. We tend to do this,
Absolutely.
but Brian, thanks for joining us, man. This is it was a lot of fun, man.
Yes,
Enjoyed
sir.
it.
Dude, tons of fun, man. Good to be here, man. Thank you.
Brian Wolff, ladies and gentlemen, this is Skunk Manhattan, Victor Ramos. Until next time, be good.